Yin Yuan returns from 3 years of war as a general. His family welcomes him by demanding every merit he earned. Those merits are meant for Yi, the brother who stayed home. Their father sent Yin Yuan to fight under Yi's name. He expected a disposable substitute, not a classified military prodigy. Yin Yuan's system rewards dangerous kills with power, techniques, and resources. It carried him from unqualified recruit to Grandmaster and general. So Yin Yuan refuses the theft and walks away from them. The cruel part started 3 years earlier, when Yin Yuan transmigrated into the eldest son of one of Jiangbei province's strongest military families. The world itself looks nothing like the ordinary life he remembers. Cracks tear through the sky, monsters emerge from alien spaces, and martial cultivation matters more than the kind of school subjects he once considered normal. Cities survive because military forces and powerful martial clans keep the monster fronts from swallowing civilian territory. Jiangbei province is comparatively stable, which makes the Ye family one of the region's most visible pillars. General Ye Tai is not only a Grandmaster. He is a one-star general commanding the local demon suppression army, so his name carries both political and military weight. Yin Yuan's mother controls one of the province's largest gene medicine companies, giving the family enormous wealth on top of military influence. From the outside, transmigrating into their eldest son looks like winning a second life lottery. The illusion disappears the moment Yin Yuan realizes where the body is standing. He wakes into active military service rather than a mansion bedroom. There is no comfortable period to learn cultivation rules, family relationships, or the history of the new world. The battlefield teaches all three through consequences. The national draft exists because the monster war constantly consumes trained fighters. Families with martial artists cannot assume wealth or status will protect every eligible child forever. That is exactly why Yi's draft notice creates panic inside the Ye household. He is not merely loved more. He is the son Ye Tai has already chosen as the future heir, the continuation of the military line, and the person expected to inherit Jiangbei influence. Sending him into uncontrolled frontline combat threatens years of family planning. Yin Yuan is easier to risk because the parents already view his position as secondary. The original body accepts the substitution for emotional reasons rather than strategic ones. After years of feeling like a recovered outsider inside his own home, he sees military service as a chance to prove loyalty so extreme that his parents cannot ignore it. That hope makes the arrangement more tragic than simple coercion. He volunteers for the role that may kill him because he believes sacrifice can purchase affection. The transmigrated Yin Yuan inherits that emotional residue along with the memories. Even when his own personality recognizes the family's behavior as cruel, part of the body still responds to parental rejection with old pain. That is the knot he carries back after 3 years. The system changes his survival odds, but not the emotional problem. Its battlefield rewards are practical rather than ceremonial. Defeating enemies can produce cultivation gains, martial techniques, strengthening resources, and rare items tied to the level of the kill. Early rewards are the difference between remaining an underqualified recruit and developing fast enough to survive the next mission. Later rewards let Yin Yuan accumulate a technique library far broader than normal military inheritance paths. The system does not make danger disappear. It makes danger profitable if he can survive it. That incentive gradually changes the way he views monsters. Enemies that terrify ordinary recruits also represent possible breakthroughs, equipment, or cultivation resources. The habit becomes obvious years later when he sees the underground cavern and thinks of loot while everyone else sees only casualty reports. On the early front lines, however, he does not yet have the power to treat monsters casually. Every mistake can still kill him before the system pays anything. That is why his rise matters to General He. The commander did not watch a ready-made genius arrive fully formed. He watched a weak recruit repeatedly survive, adapt, and turn each reward into enough strength for the next level of danger. By the time military secrecy hides the file, Yin Yuan's identity has become less important inside the Eastern War Zone than the officer everyone actually knows. The name on the paperwork may be Yi. The face, decision, battlefield reputation, and command history belong to Yin Yuan alone. Space cracks had filled the world with monsters. Martial arts determined status, and every qualified fighter could be drafted to the demon suppression front. The original Yin Yuan had been found years earlier in the old city district, after being separated from his family during a monster disaster. He desperately wanted approval from the parents who recovered him, even after they clearly favored their younger son Yi as the future heir. When Yi's draft notice arrived, General Ye Tai did not send his precious successor to war. Instead, he sent Yin Yuan under Yi's identity, turning the eldest son into a substitute soldier while the younger one remained safely at home. The original body's need for love was strong enough that he accepted, hoping 3 years of sacrifice might finally make his parents value him. Yin Yuan's modern world memories gave him perspective, but they did not magically make the battlefield easier. His real lifeline was the system that rewarded kills, techniques, cultivation gains, and other resources as he survived harder enemies. Battle after battle pushed him from an unqualified recruit into a terrifying frontline prodigy, until the military sealed much of his record for protection. 3 years later, he comes back to Jiangbei carrying scars, classified achievements, and a rank his family never bothered to investigate. His welcome is almost colder than the battlefield. His younger sister, Yiling, meets him with open contempt and warns him not to embarrass their parents when they finally return. At dinner, his mother treats him politely rather than warmly, while Yi barely acknowledges the brother who spent 3 years risking death for him. Then General Ye Tai tells Yin Yuan not to return to the military. Yi is preparing for the martial exam, and war merits can improve his prospects while helping him build a future path into the family command. The father plans to promote Yi to major, then eventually let him inherit the demon suppression forces under Ye family control. For that plan to look impressive, he wants Yin Yuan's achievements attached to the younger brother's name. Yiling even suggests Yin Yuan could work security at their mother's medicine company, as if 3 years of combat only proved he had decent stamina. Yi finds the suggestion funny, which tells Yin Yuan exactly how much gratitude his sacrifice earned. General Ye Tai admits he heard Yin Yuan gained some merits and perhaps a military rank, but assumes the boy's talent has already reached its limit. That assumption would be insulting, even if the facts were ordinary. In reality, the father's own one-star general status is no longer enough to casually dismiss the son sitting across from him. The Eastern War Zone classified Yin Yuan after his achievements became extraordinary, yet Ye Tai never used his position to learn what happened after the first year. He could have checked if he cared enough. He simply did not. Yin Yuan refuses the merit transfer and reminds them he already gave Yi 3 years of his life. That should have ended the discussion. But General Ye Tai reacts as if obedience is another possession he bought years ago. He finally reveals the belief underneath everything. Yin Yuan was brought back from the old city to pave the road for Yi. Food, shelter, education, and family status were never gifts in his mind. They were investments that could be collected whenever the favored son needed another advantage. The confession breaks something inside Yin Yuan, but not in the way his father expects. The original body's lingering hunger for parental approval finally disappears because rejection hurts less once he understands they never treated him as equal family. General Ye Tai keeps pressing, insisting he rescued Yin Yuan from poverty, and therefore has the right to decide where those merits go. He even promises Yi will not mistreat Yin Yuan after inheriting Jiangbei, as if that future charity should make the theft acceptable. Yin Yuan turns to his mother and asks whether she knew this was the plan. She hesitates, then admits the transfer is unfair, but promises she and his father will compensate him afterward. 3 years of monster attacks, starvation, and near-death experiences reduced to something that could supposedly be repaid with benefits later. That answer is enough. Yin Yuan stands and says he wants neither the merits transfer nor the Ye family's inheritance. From that night onward, he wants no relationship with them at all. General Ye Tai explodes from his chair and strikes with Grandmaster power, expecting to crush the son he still imagines as weak. Yin Yuan simply steps aside. The dodge is so clean that his father freezes, because an ordinary master should not read that attack so easily. Yin Yuan tells him any debt for being recovered from the old city was paid in full by 3 years of war. Then he walks out into the night without looking back. His mother tries to follow, but General Ye Tai stops her and declares the family has no need for trash. He orders everyone not to help Yin Yuan, confident the boy will discover how helpless he is without the Ye name. Hai's first concern is not whether his brother has somewhere to sleep. He asks what happens to the war merits. General Ye Tai assures him those merits were always his, because the military paperwork already lists Yi as the soldier. The schemes had been built into the draft from the beginning. Yin Yuan fought, killed, earned promotions, and survived under Yi's identity. So Ye Tai believes every record can eventually be handed back to his real son. He does not think he needs Yin Yuan's consent, because on paper the achievements already carry Yi's name. That logic makes the next plan easy for him. The family will hold a major banquet, invite Jiangbei's important figures, announce Yi's return from 3 years of service, and publicly promote him to major. They plan to celebrate the younger son as the war hero, while the actual soldier is outside the family gates. What they do not understand is that Yin Yuan stopped being an anonymous substitute long ago. A low-level soldier's file might be quietly reassigned, but a classified general with millions of merits cannot be replaced without people noticing. Walking away, Yin Yuan feels lighter than he has since the transmigration. He checks his system and sees the contradiction clearly. 22 years old, Grandmaster realm, and about 6.56 million military merit. His father thinks he has a few modest achievements. The military considers him one of the Eastern War Zone's most valuable young officers. There is one serious problem hiding beneath that success. A battlefield toxin from an alien race is eating away at Yin Yuan's chi and blood. Normal poison barely affects high-level martial artists, but this substance came through the space cracks and can damage even a Grandmaster. If it keeps spreading, Yin Yuan will lose his chance to enter the true dragon realm and may eventually fall back toward ordinary master level. Part of his reason for returning home was to recover in Jiangbei. Now the family home is the last place he wants treatment. His phone rings before he has time to decide where to go. General He Ding-jun, commander of the Eastern War Zone and the officer who cultivated Yin Yuan for years, has already found a medical solution. A famous Zhang family physician once pulled a Grandmaster back from the edge of death, and General He arranged for that old doctor to examine Yin Yuan personally. Yin Yuan asks to go that same night. The urgency makes General He suspicious that Ye Tai is trying to keep his rising star in Jiangbei. He jokes that after spending a fortune training this future martial saint, he is ready to drive over personally if another general tries to steal him. Yin Yuan reassures him there is no chance of that happening. Staying with the Ye family is no longer an option. At Eastern Command, General He soon discovers why the family situation is even stranger than Yin Yuan explained on the phone. While preparing a nomination for the Rising Star selection, he opens the military background attached to the name Yi. The file makes it appear that his brilliant soldier is the second son of the Jiangbei Ye family, yet General He believed he had trained an unconnected youth from the old district. That means Ye Tai did not merely send a substitute into battle. He also hid the family connection well enough that the Eastern War Zone spent enormous resources developing the talent without knowing who supposedly owned that identity. Rare medicine, cultivation materials, techniques, equipment, lodging, and combat support add up to billions over 3 years. To General He, the implication is infuriating. Another regional commander may have used the Eastern War Zone as free training for his heir. He orders his staff to calculate every resource spent and prepares to confront Ye Tai if necessary. Yin Yuan knows none of that as he waits by the road for the Zhang family's car. A young woman named Xiaoya arrives and addresses him by the title that matters outside his old home, General. She is a student connected to the famous Zhang medical family and has been sent to bring him to their estate. Xiaoya keeps stealing glances because the general beside her looks barely older than a college student. Yin Yuan thanks her normally, which surprises her more than his rank. At the Zhang estate, he is given a guest room and told the old physician will examine him in the morning. For the first time since returning, the night is quiet. He has severed the family tie, treatment is arranged, and the emotional burden carried by the original body is finally fading. Across the city, General Ye Tai is already advertising Yi's celebration banquet as if the stolen story belongs to his favored son. Inside the mansion, Yi keeps talking about the future he expects those borrowed achievements to buy. He wants a top academy, a provincial championship, and eventually the same command position his father holds. Ye Tai encourages every ambition because he sees Yi as the true continuation of the family line. The mother who tried to follow Yin Yuan outside soon settles back into the family plan, which makes her later regret harder to excuse. After the younger children leave, she does ask whether Yin Yuan might resist the identity swap permanently. Ye Tai dismisses the concern because he believes military paperwork matters more than the person who earned what sits inside it. From his perspective, Yin Yuan was only serving under Yi's name, so returning the record to Yi is not theft at all. That legal fiction is the foundation of his confidence. He does not understand that rank creates witnesses, responsibilities, command relationships, and classified evaluations that cannot be transferred like a bank account. The higher Yin Yuan climbed, the more people learned the habits, face voice, and combat style behind the name Yi. Ye Tai never followed that progression closely enough to see the identity fraud becoming impossible to maintain. The banquet, therefore, becomes more than a family celebration. It is meant to publicly lock the false story in place before Yin Yuan can challenge it. Once Jiangbei's elite have applauded Yi as the returning soldier, Ye Tai expects social consensus to do half the work for him. He also intends the major's rank to make Yi's academy application look untouchable. The plan is elegant only if the substitute remained ordinary. Yin Yuan did the one thing his father never planned for. He became too important to erase. His classified status also explains why the family heard so little after the first year. As his achievements rose, information moved behind military clearance walls designed to protect valuable personnel from enemy targeting. Ye Tai later uses that secrecy as an excuse for ignorance. In truth, his own position gave him opportunities to ask far more than an ordinary parent could. He simply never spent the effort. Yin Yuan's 6.56 million merits are not decorative numbers on a system panel. They represent battles, kills, missions, and survival across a war zone that treats monster casualties as routine. They also explain why senior commanders now speak to him as a peer instead of a recruit. General He Ding-jun even reminds him that their ranks are no longer separated the way they were when the young soldier first arrived. The older commander still calls him Little Yi out of habit, but professionally he knows Yin Yuan has entered the upper military class. That relationship matters, because General He saw the progression directly. He remembers the recruit who needed resources, the officer who kept surviving impossible assignments, and the Grandmaster who became too valuable to expose publicly. So when the family tries to reclaim everything at once, General He sees more than emotional abuse. He sees another command attempting to seize an investment built with Eastern War Zone money, training, and battlefield infrastructure. His staff estimates that cultivating a future Marshal Saint candidate can cost at least $10 billion per year before counting exceptional missions. Over 3 years, the expense becomes the kind of number that regional commands cannot treat casually. The rare medicines alone were selected to push Yin Yuan through bottlenecks that ordinary soldiers never reach. Specialized techniques were chosen around his growth, rather than handed out as standard equipment. Combat gear was replaced as his strength exceeded earlier limits. Even food and recovery resources were calibrated for a body developing far faster than expected. General He believed he was building an Eastern War Zone cornerstone from a young man with no powerful clan standing behind him. Discovering Ye Tai's hidden identity arrangement makes him feel used from the opposite direction. The Jiangbei general appears to have protected his favorite son, while another war zone paid to turn that name into a legend. That is why General He prepares an expense list before even reaching the province. If Ye Tai insists the soldier belongs to his family, the Eastern commander is ready to ask who will reimburse the military for 3 years of cultivation. Yin Yuan never requests this defense. General He reaches the conclusion independently because the military relationship became more genuine than the family one. The poison adds another layer to that contrast. Yin Yuan came home partly because the injury was serious enough to threaten everything he built. His declining qi and blood are already signs that the toxin is winning slowly rather than dramatically. If untreated, falling from Grandmaster would not only weaken him, it could destroy years of refinement and permanently damage the path toward true dragon. That is why he agrees to Dr. Zhang's help so quickly, despite wanting distance from every Jiangbei power network. He can fight pride later. Alien poison has a clock. The quiet guest room at the Zhang estate is therefore the first place since his return where he can focus on survival instead of family bargaining. For Yin Yuan, that calm matters more than the mansion he just abandoned. By morning, Lingwu City is buzzing with the announcement that Yi has supposedly returned from 3 years of frontline service. The public story is simple. General Ye Tai sent his own son to defend the border, and that son is now being promoted to major. Provincial Governor Li Weining notices the news but initially sees nothing unusual about 3 years of service leading to a major's rank. General He Ding-jun sees the same announcement and nearly loses his temper. The soldier registered as Yi is not a major in his world. That man is already a general. Promoting him downward makes so little sense that General He briefly wonders whether Ye Tai even knows his own son's rank. His staff points out that the military sealed much of the record, but General He still finds the excuse pathetic. A commanding general could have asked about a son serving under his name. Ye Tai simply never cared enough to do it. At the Zhang estate, Yin Yuan is having a much calmer morning when old Dr. Zhang finally arrives. The physician is elderly, white-haired, and respected across the province as both a martial artist and a top-tier pharmacist. In a world where powerful fighters constantly need rare medicine, healers like him can ignore pressure from generals without losing sleep. He takes Yin Yuan's pulse, then asks him to remove his shirt so he can inspect the injury directly. Battle scars cover the young general's body, and near his heart sits the real problem, a palm-sized wound leaking dark alien poison. Dr. Zhang says another small shift in the original strike could have reached the heart and made treatment impossible. The good news is that the poison can still be removed. The bad news is that it has remained in Yin Yuan long enough that treatment will take time. Yin Yuan starts to thank him, but the old doctor immediately explains that treatment will not be free. Money is not what he wants. The Zhang family has survived partly because powerful warriors owe them favors. Yet Dr. Zhang dislikes depending forever on other people's goodwill. General He described Yin Yuan as a future Marshal Saint candidate, which gives the old doctor a much more permanent idea. He has a granddaughter around Yin Yuan's age studying at the Holy Martial Academy in the capital. Dr. Zhang proposes marriage. Yin Yuan realizes General He did not settle the medical favor with cash. He apparently tried to pay with a slightly poisoned military genius. Yin Yuan searches for a polite escape and argues that a battlefield soldier is hardly the ideal husband for an elite academy student. Dr. Zhang is not discouraged, so Yin Yuan uses the strongest defense he has, the original body's old marriage engagement. Years earlier, his family arranged a match with Su Yuhan, and that agreement has never been formally dissolved. Dr. Zhang accepts that an existing engagement cannot simply be ignored and agrees to treat him anyway. The relief lasts only a few minutes. A servant rushes in to report that Miss Su has arrived asking for Yin Yuan. Dr. Zhang is confused because the military guest in front of him is supposed to be Yi, while the visitor is asking for the Ye family's older son. Yin Yuan admits the explanation is complicated and asks to see her. That single inconsistency begins exposing how thoroughly the family erased the identity of the person who actually went to war. Su Yuhan enters already angry and prepared to end the engagement. She is beautiful, proud, and accustomed to treating Yin Yuan as the unwanted slum boy attached to her by an old family promise. In the original body's memories, she repeatedly reminded him that he was beneath her. The old Yin Yuan always avoided a clean break because he clung to every connection that made him feel accepted. This Yin Yuan does not. When Su Yuhan declares she will never marry him, he accepts immediately and tells her the matter is settled. Her entire confrontation collapses because she expected begging, excuses, or at least an argument. Instead, he reacts with the emotional investment of someone canceling an appointment. Dr. Zhang watches the exchange and realizes Yin Yuan's only objection to his matchmaking plan just disappeared on its own. Before Su Yuhan fully leaves, the old doctor cheerfully brings up his granddaughter again. Yin Yuan nearly regrets being so cooperative with the breakup. He buys himself time by insisting Zhang Dai should have a say before anyone makes plans for her future. Dr. Zhang agrees to introduce them after she returns from the Holy Martial Academy. Su Yuhan overhears enough to become genuinely confused. The Zhang family is one of the most respected medical clans in the province, and their granddaughter attends the country's most elite martial academy. Why would such a family want the supposedly useless older Ye son? She returns to warn Dr. Zhang that Yin Yuan cannot inherit the Ye family and that Yi is the real successor. In her mind, she is protecting the old physician from betting on the wrong son. Dr. Zhang's expression hardens instantly. He tells Su Yuhan that his family's choices are none of her concern and sends her out. She leaves convinced the old man has lost his judgment. What she cannot know is that Dr. Zhang does not care whether Yin Yuan inherits a single Ye family asset. He is looking at a 22-year-old general with the potential to become a martial saint. That value exists completely outside the family name. Su Yuhan comforts herself with the upcoming banquet. Once the province sees Yi celebrated as a returning war hero and promoted to major, she believes the Zhang family will realize its mistake. Yin Yuan has no interest in correcting her. He focuses on medicine while the Ye household builds the banquet into a public spectacle. Invitations go to military officers, wealthy clan heads, local power broker, and every important family in Jiangbei. General Ye Tai intends to turn one false promotion into proof that his chosen heir has returned as a national hero. Yin Yuan lets the show continue because arguing over a fake major's rank is less important than removing alien poison from his body. Behind the scenes, however, the false identity is already attracting the wrong kind of attention. A wealthy young man named Xiao Shi hears about the banquet while spending time in Lingwu City. He is related to Governor Li and comes from a capital clan backed by a martial saint. More importantly, his grandfather sent him to Jiangbei for one specific reason. He wants Xiao Shi to meet the famous border prodigy called the Killing God, a young general classified as a future martial saint candidate. The name in that military legends file is Yi. Xiao Shi assumes the banquet celebrating Yi's return is therefore the perfect place to find him. He convinces Governor Li Weining to attend, despite the governor's reluctance to show up at a junior's celebration. Once Xiao Shi mentions that a martial saint personally cares about the young soldier, the governor stops worrying about appearances. At the Ye estate, luxury cars already fill the grounds, and General Ye Tai is enjoying the attention. He tells the crowd that when the border faced crisis, duty required him to lead by example and send his own son to war. The guests praise the sacrifice without knowing he protected Yi by sending Yin Yuan under the boy's name. Then Ye Tai announces that Yi will be promoted to major in the Demon Suppression Army. The room applauds. Yi tries to look modest while clearly enjoying every second of the borrowed glory. Yiling congratulates him as if no one his age has ever achieved so much. Their parents look at the younger son with the pride Yin Yuan never received after actually surviving those battles. The atmosphere shifts when a butler announces that Governor Li has arrived in person. Ye Tai and the governor hold comparable regional status, so this visit feels far more significant than a courtesy appearance. Then the guests notice the young man beside Li. Governor Li introduces Xiao Shi, only as a younger relative from the capital, but the surname is enough for experienced people to connect him to a martial saint family. Now the banquet looks even more prestigious. A martial saint's descendant has apparently come to honor Yi. Xiaoxi gives General Ye Tai respectful praise for sending his son to the border during a national crisis. Ye Tai accepts every compliment about sacrifice while standing beside the son he actually kept safe. Xiaoxi then asks to meet the returning soldier. Yi steps forward immediately and identifies himself. Something feels wrong the moment Xiaoxi looks at him. The border-killing god was described as a battlefield monster who slaughtered enemies by the hundreds, yet the young man in front of him looks untouched by war. Governor Li notices the mismatch too, but Ye Tai personally confirms that this is Yi. Xiaoxi shakes the boy's hand because he has no reason yet to accuse a one-star general of lying in his own home. Yi interprets the attention as proof that his talent has reached the capital. Then the banquet receives another guest, and this one arrives furious. General He Ding-jun storms through the entrance in full uniform, demanding to know where Yi is. The entire room assumes the Eastern War Zone commander has come, because the younger son is even more extraordinary than they thought. He steps forward again with confidence. General He looks at him and immediately knows he is staring at the wrong person. The Yi he trained is a Grandmaster, a battlefield veteran, and one of the most dangerous young warriors in the military. This boy is none of those things. For a moment, General He seems ready to expose everything. Then he realizes Ye Tai is not pretending. The father genuinely does not know what rank the substitute's son reached. That changes the situation from an argument into an opportunity. General He abruptly becomes friendly and jokes that he only came to visit an old acquaintance. He even complains that promoting a 3-year frontline veteran to major is far too modest. He proudly says major is already enough and should advance slowly. General He barely hides his disbelief. Rather than correct him, he casually asks Ye Tai about his other son. The room goes quiet when the father answers that the ungrateful eldest son left the family and cut all ties. General He understands the gift immediately. The military prodigy he spent years cultivating is now legally and emotionally detached from the family trying to reclaim him. There is no reason to explain that value to Ye Tai. General He ends the visit politely and leaves, without exposing the identity swap. Xiaoxi follows because the commander's behavior confirms his own suspicion. Outside, he asks directly whether the young man inside is truly the famous Yi from the Eastern War Zone. General He laughs and tells him no. Ye Tai managed to throw a military general and future martial saint candidate out of his own house. Then it presents another son as the replacement. Xiaoxi asks why he did not reveal the truth. General He answers with simple military logic. If the father voluntarily released the prodigy, the Eastern War Zone has no reason to return him. After 3 years of training, General He is not interested in handing his star soldier back on a silver platter. Xiaoxi finally understands that the person his grandfather wants is somewhere else in Jiangbei. Inside the banquet, Yi remains unaware that the important guests came looking for a man he has been impersonating. That misunderstanding grows, because Yi has spent his entire life being told that exceptional outcomes naturally belong to him. How powerful visitors appear at his celebration, he never considers that they could be searching for someone else. Su Yuhan reinforces the illusion simply by being impressed that Xiaoxi spoke to him at all. Yi casually suggests his martial talent must have reached the capital and attracted the attention of a martial saint family. To Su Yuhan, that explanation fits the hierarchy she already believes in. The favored Ye heir rises, while the discarded older son disappears. Xiaoxi's actual mission is almost the exact opposite. His grandfather is not interested in a promising exam student. He is tracking the Eastern War Zone's rising star because several powerful families expect that young officer to matter in national affairs. The border nickname Killing God did not come from one lucky victory. It came from a pattern of frontline results so violent that people outside the Eastern Command started hearing about him despite the sealed file. Xiaoxi expects that person to look like someone shaped by combat. That is why Yi's untouched appearance bothers him before he has any proof. Governor Li feels the same mismatch from a political perspective. A young officer important enough to draw direct interest from a martial saint family should carry some evidence of command experience. Yi instead radiates the confidence of a protected prodigy who has never had to question whether adults will support him. Neither man can accuse Ye Tai on instinct alone. General He's arrival supplies the missing evidence. The Eastern commander should recognize the most famous young soldier in his own war zone immediately. His hesitation around Yi is therefore more revealing than an open accusation. Xiaoxi watches the commander's eyes, the pause, and the sudden decision not to expose anything. That is why he follows General He outside instead of staying for the banquet's social rewards. General He's answer also teaches Xiaoxi something important about military competition. The Ye family assumes blood automatically gives them the strongest claim on Yin Yuan. General He thinks in terms of who trained, protected, funded, and commanded the young officer for 3 years. If Ye Tai voluntarily severs the family tie, the Eastern War Zone loses nothing by letting that decision stand. From General He's perspective, correcting the father's mistake would be strategically stupid. He can keep the future martial saint exactly where the soldier already wants to be. Xiaoshi respects the logic, even though it complicates his own family's attempt to build a relationship with Yin Yuan. It also explains why the Eastern commander leaves the banquet smiling instead of furious. He arrived prepared to argue over a soldier. He discovers the other side already surrendered the soldier without understanding his value. The best move is silence. Back inside, Ye Tai reads that silence in the opposite way. He assumes General He backed down because the Jiang Bei commander controls the family identity. Yi interprets it as additional respect. Both conclusions survive only until Xiaoshi returns with the truth. Su Yuhan is especially vulnerable to the reversal because she just ended her engagement with Yin Yuan and congratulated herself for choosing the stronger social path. The banquet seems ready to prove that judgment right. A governor came. A martial saint descendant came. An Eastern commander came. Then all three lose interest once they realize the celebrated Yi is not the person they wanted. That sequence is why the failed banquet disturbs Ye Tai even before he understands the hidden rank. Important people do not travel across a province for no reason. Their disappointment has a target, and the only missing Ye family member with 3 blank military years is Yin Yuan. His wife reaches that conclusion faster because she's less invested in military pride. Ye Tai reaches it too briefly. Then he rejects it because accepting the possibility would mean admitting his entire judgment of the eldest son could be wrong. Blaming sense sabotage is psychologically easier than asking what Yin Yuan actually accomplished. That choice delays the truth again and turns a solvable family mistake into a growing institutional problem. Yi is still talking with Su Yuhan when Xiaoshi returns to the hall, and the younger son calls out to him like they are already close friends. Xiaoshi does not play along. He goes straight to Governor Li, quietly explains what general he confirmed, and the governor's attitude turns cold. Li announces that something urgent has come up and prepares to leave immediately. Yi tries to stop Xiaoshi with another friendly call. This time Xiaoshi looks him in the eye and says the earlier familiarity was a mistake. He warns Yi not to claim a relationship with him in the capital. 5 minutes earlier, Yi believed a martial saint family had personally recognized his talent. Now that same family's descendant treats him like a stranger. Governor Li leaves without offering any explanation, and the atmosphere of the banquet collapses with him. The important guests who seem to validate Yi's new status begin departing early. What was supposed to be General Ye Tai's great public triumph ends in confusion within roughly an hour. At the Zhang estate, Yin Yuan is unaware of most of the spectacle because Dr. Zhang is checking the poison wound again. The physician notices that Yin Yuan's body is healing far faster than expected and identifies an advanced body refinement state beneath the scars. The creature that delivered the poison must have been close to martial saint territory. Dr. Zhang is stunned that a Grandmaster survived such an opponent at all. That is when a servant announces the arrival of General Hiding Jun. The Eastern commander finally finds Yin Yuan and greets him with genuine relief. Once the laughter passes, he asks for the entire story without omissions. Yin Yuan explains the substitute draft, his identity, the 3 years of service, the family demand for his merits, and the decision to cut ties. General He's mood turns dangerous. He crushes the cup in his hand and calls Ye Tai's scheme exactly what it is, using one son as a disposable soldier for another. He asks what Yin Yuan wants to do next rather than deciding for him. Yin Yuan's answer is simple. Heal completely, return to the military, enter the Rising Star selection, and leave the Ye family behind. General He accepts that choice, although he makes clear that High Command will still hear about the identity manipulation. Then he gives Yin Yuan a reason to recover quickly. The Rising Star rewards include True Dragon Liquid, one of the most important resources for crossing from Grandmaster into the next realm. Yin Yuan estimates that once the poison is removed, his combat rating should reach around 6.5 stars. General He nearly chokes because ordinary True Dragon fighters are measured around 5. Even before the breakthrough, Yin Yuan is already operating beyond normal Grandmaster limits. Back at the Ye mansion, the failed banquet has finally disturbed Ye Tai's certainty. He cannot explain why the governor, General He, and Xiaoshi all arrived, acted strangely, and then left once they realized someone was missing. His wife quietly suggests the missing person might have been Yin Yuan. For a moment, the possibility reaches him. Then pride replaces it with a more comfortable explanation. Ye Tai decides Yin Yuan must have arranged some trick to sabotage Yi's celebration. He orders a military background check and commands his people to locate the son he publicly disowned. Governor Li is also thinking about Yin Yuan, but from a very different angle. Xiaosh explains that several martial saint families in the capital are struggling for influence while alien threats continue growing. Support from the military's young Eastern Star could matter far beyond Jiang Bei. Li asks how high Yin Yuan's real military position might be. The answer is unsettling because ordinary generals are only the beginning of the upper command structure. Ye Tai and General He are one-star generals, but the sealed prodigy may already stand at a level comparable to a military chief. A rank that high at 22 sounds almost impossible, which is exactly why the governor stops treating the family dispute as ordinary drama. Dr. Zhang makes his own decision after learning how Yin Yuan was treated. When Yin Yuan's mother's pharmaceutical company asks to collaborate on a new medicine project, the old physician refuses. He goes further and ends future cooperation with the company entirely. That partnership helped make the business dominant in Jiangbei, so the loss is immediate and serious. Yin Yuan did not ask for revenge. Dr. Zhang simply decides he will not support people who used a patient he respects as a disposable tool. While the business consequences spread, Yin Yuan's condition keeps improving. The wound closes, the alien poison weakens, and his block cultivation begins loosening as his qi and blood recover. Dr. Zhang also mentions a dangerous underground cavern that recently appeared roughly 100 miles from Lingwu City. Its current rating is SS, which already implies threats near Grandmaster level. The old physician warns that Jiang Bei may become unstable if the cavern grows worse. He also tells Yin Yuan that the governor's office has requested a meeting on behalf of someone from Xiaoxi's martial saint family. Yin Yuan agrees to go. At almost the same time, General Ye Tai accesses the military database to investigate the son he never bothered to follow for 3 years. The first year looks impressive, but still understandable. Yin Yuan killed enemies on his first day, passed 100 kills within weeks, became a squad leader, then reached lieutenant by the year's end. Ye Tai sees that record and concludes his son probably became a captain, or perhaps a major afterward. Then he tries to open the second year. Access denied. A one-star general does not have enough clearance to read the rest of the file. The obvious possibility is that Yin Yuan's status exceeds what his father imagined. Ye Tai chooses a different explanation. He assumes the Eastern War Zone locked the file simply to stop the family from reclaiming him. Before he can pursue the issue, he learns that Dr. Zhang severed cooperation with his wife's company. The family gathers in crisis, far more alarmed about the lost medical partnership than about the son who left their home. He suggests the Zhang family might want more money. Yiling insists their profit share was already generous. Their mother wonders whether a rival company offered something better. Ye Tai blames Yin Yuan. Because the boy is staying at the Zhang estate, the timing looks suspicious enough for everyone to accept the accusation immediately. He tells the family Yin Yuan reached at least captain rank, still underestimating the truth by a huge margin. Yi privately dismisses even that achievement, because he now believes his own stolen major's rank makes him superior. Yiling becomes furious and leaves to confront Yin Yuan personally. She finds him outside the governor's office after his meeting with Xiaoxi and Governor Li. The sight alone disrupts everything she believes about her brother. The provincial governor and a martial saint descendant are walking behind Yin Yuan with unmistakable respect. Yiling follows him until he stops in a quiet street and points out that he has been aware of her for some time. She steps out and demands to know his relationship with Governor Li and the Xiao family. Then she accuses him of forcing Dr. Zhang to destroy the partnership with their mother's company. Yin Yuan tells her the truth. Dr. Zhang made that decision himself. Yiling refuses to believe it because her father already supplied a villain for the story. She calls Yin Yuan ungrateful, the same word the family uses whenever he refuses to serve their interests. This time his patience ends. He reminds her that any debt for being found in the old city was paid by 3 years on the front lines. Then he releases only a fraction of his spiritual pressure. Contact floods Yiling's senses with fragments of what that power was built from. She sees a blood-covered young warrior standing among monster corpses, then a hall of decorated officers saluting a single figure. The brightest military insignia belongs to the person at the center. The vision ends before she fully sees the face. Yin Yuan withdraws the pressure and walks away. Yiling is left shaking, because accepting what she sensed would require rebuilding her entire image of the useless older brother. Her refusal turns the memory into a heart demon, a mental block that can obstruct cultivation until she accepts the truth behind it. She returns home pale, distracted, and repeating that the person in the vision could not have been Yin Yuan. General Ye Tai recognizes the symptoms as a forced spiritual impression combined with psychological rejection. He mentions that she kept saying their brother's name. That is enough for their father to decide Yin Yuan attacked his own sister. He sends a messenger to the Zhang estate ordering Yin Yuan to return home the next day or face the consequences. Yin Yuan laughs when he hears the threat to abandon fatherly feelings. Those feelings were already publicly withdrawn when Ye Tai declared he had only one useful son. Yin Yuan refuses to return and tells the messenger that if Ye Tai wants another confrontation, he can come himself. The answer sends the father into a rage. He takes Yi and marches to the Jiang estate, where Dr. Jiang objects to being threatened in his own home. Ye Tai ignores the physician's status and accuses Yin Yuan of harming Yiling. Yin Yuan enters before the argument becomes a fight between families and tells Dr. Jiang to leave the matter to him. Yi immediately condemns him for disrespecting their father and attacking their sister. Yin Yuan calmly explains that he did not injure Yiling. He showed her something she could not accept, and her own refusal created the heart demon. Then he asks a simpler question. When did either younger sibling ever treat him like an older brother? He looks at Yi and refers to Ye Tai as your father, rather than calling him a shared father. That wording hurts Ye Tai more than an insult, because it confirms the severed relationship is no longer emotional theater. Yi tries to restore the old hierarchy by challenging Yin Yuan directly. He is a talented post-heaven fighter with enough chi and blood to devastate a building, excellent for someone his age. Against Yin Yuan, the gap is ridiculous. Yi charges with a powerful punch and hits empty air because Yin Yuan slips aside before he can track the movement. One restrained counter sends Yi across the room and leaves him unable to stand. Ye Tai abandons the idea of letting the younger generation settle matters and attacks with full Grandmaster force. This time, Yin Yuan does not dodge. He meets the palm head-on. The Jiang estate shakes from the collision, but when the dust settles, Ye Tai's arm is trembling while Yin Yuan remains steady. For the first time, the father directly feels how deep his son's cultivation has become. His own aura once seemed like a mountain over the household. Yin Yuan's feels like an ocean with no visible bottom. Yin Yuan warns him to stop using words like beast and animal, while hiding what he actually did with the substitute draft. Ye Tai immediately becomes cautious because a public investigation into that scheme could destroy far more than family pride. Dr. Jiang also rejects the father's favorite argument about gratitude. Finding a son lost during a monster disaster was a parent's responsibility, not a debt that could be collected with 3 years of forced sacrifice. Ye Tai has no clean answer. He turns to the injured Yi and complains that the martial exam is approaching, and the beating may damage the younger boy's chances. Yin Yuan notices how quickly he becomes a brother again whenever the family needs another obligation from him. He asks whether Yi or Yiling ever called him big brother while he lived under that roof. Silence gives the answer. Ye Tai never required them to show that respect, and he cannot pretend now that the relationship was mutual. He carries Yi out of the Jiang estate, without winning the argument or the fight. Yin Yuan sits back down and finishes his tea. The confrontation leaves several separate problems behind, and the Ye family notices only the ones that threaten its own plans. Yi's injuries matter because the martial exam is approaching. Yiling's heart demon matters because her cultivation could stall. The broken Jiang partnership matters because the pharmaceutical company could lose its competitive edge. The reason behind all three problems points toward Yin Yuan, so the family reduces them into one convenient accusation. The eldest son is attacking them. That explanation ignores the different causes. Yi chose the fight and was defeated. Yiling followed Yin Yuan, accused him, and mentally rejected the truth she sensed. Dr. Jiang ended the business relationship on his own authority. Treating every consequence as sabotage lets Ye Tai avoid asking why unrelated people keep siding with the son he discarded. The pharmaceutical issue is especially serious because martial medicine is not a normal consumer business. New formulas depend on experts who understand cultivation injuries, genetic medicines, monster toxins, and the bodies of high-level warriors. Dr. Jiang's family has decades of trust and knowledge that money alone cannot replace quickly. Losing that support does not bankrupt the company overnight. It threatens future products, reputation, and access to specialized research that competitors would love to control. That is why Yin Yuan's mother becomes more anxious even before she sees his battlefield memories. She can feel the family network beginning to break around a decision she helped approve. Ye Tai responds by searching for more control rather than more understanding. The military database should, in his mind, tell him exactly how valuable Yin Yuan really is. Year 1 gives him enough evidence to know the boy progressed fast. 10 enemies on the first day and more than 100 soon afterward already separate Yin Yuan from ordinary recruits. Promotion to squad leader and then lieutenant proves. Command noticed the same talent. Ye Tai still interprets those facts conservatively because they fit a range he understands. A talented lieutenant becoming a captain or major after 3 years would be impressive without threatening the father's authority. The denied second-year file is the point where the evidence stops fitting. 1-star general clearance being insufficient is not a minor technical problem. It means the record sits behind a level of classification created for people, operations, or capabilities above normal regional access. Ye Tai never allows that implication to finish forming. He assumes, General, he locked the file to prevent the family from reclaiming a useful soldier. That explanation preserves the belief that Yin Yuan is still beneath him. It also makes General He look like the manipulator, which suits Ye Tai's habit of blaming outside interference. Governor Li sees the same sealed status from a different direction and becomes more cautious around Yin Yuan, not less. The governor has no emotional investment in keeping the young man small. When a Marshall Saint family's descendant treats Yin Yuan seriously, Li adjusts his own behavior to the evidence. Yiling witnesses that adjustment outside the governor's office. Seeing two powerful men walk behind her brother is not merely surprising because of status. It contradicts years of household behavior in which Yin Yuan occupied the lowest social position at home. She follows him because she needs an explanation that lets both realities exist at once. Her accusation about Dr. Jiang provides one. If Yin Yuan gained influence only by plotting against the family, then he can remain morally inferior even if important people respect him. The spiritual vision destroys that comfort. The battlefield images do not show a social trick. They show earned violence, command, and military recognition. The saluting officers are especially damaging because Yiling understands enough martial hierarchy to recognize that those insignias belong to people her family normally respects. Her mind tries to reject the identity of the person receiving the salute. That internal contradiction is what turns the impression into a heart demon rather than simple fear. A heart demon in this world is not an external curse Yin Yuan can remove for her. It is a cultivation obstruction built from belief, emotion, and unresolved contradiction. As long as Yiling insists the vision cannot represent her brother, her own mind keeps fighting the evidence encoded in her spiritual senses. Accepting the truth would weaken the obstruction immediately. The family instead treats Yin Yuan as the attacker, which encourages her denial and makes recovery harder. Ye Tai even understands the technical mechanism well enough to diagnose it. He simply refuses the interpretation that would solve it. That pattern repeats when he feels Yin Yuan's Grandmaster strength at the Jiang estate. The direct palm collision gives him physical evidence stronger than any database report. He knows his son's aura exceeds the obedient boy he remembered. Rather than ask how far Yin Yuan climbed, he focuses on the insult of being resisted. The family keeps receiving pieces of the truth and choosing the explanation that demands the least humility. Each choice makes the eventual full reveal more dangerous for them. Back at the Ye mansion, his mother finds Yi injured badly enough to look frightening, but not beyond treatment. Ye Tai immediately frames the entire confrontation as Yin Yuan attacking the family without reason. His wife asks whether they provoked him first, a question that irritates the general because it points toward responsibility he refuses to examine. She confirms medicine from her company can heal Yi before the martial exam. That eases one practical problem, but not the growing fracture inside the family. For the first time, Ye Tai cannot completely ignore Yin Yuan's question about the younger children, never acknowledging him as their brother. He remembers years of silence at the dinner table, casual disrespect, and his own decision to let all of it become normal. Pride still prevents an apology. His wife is less certain. She can see the distance is becoming permanent, and she knows the family took far more from Yin Yuan than they ever admitted. While the household argues, the underground cavern near Lingwu City stops looking like a side problem. A demon suppression unit enters under the assumption that S intelligence is accurate. The soldiers encounter a creature strong enough to scatter trained fighters almost immediately. A lieutenant colonel orders a retreat, civilian evacuation, and a full reassessment of the cavern's rating. Whatever is below the mountain is stronger than the original survey suggested. Far away at the Holy Martial Academy, Dr. Jiang's granddaughter, Zhang Dai, completes another breakthrough in spiritual power. She's not a simple close-range fighter. Her specialty is spiritual perception, letting her sense movement, predict attacks, and process the battlefield at a speed ordinary martial artists cannot match. Her teacher Xiaoling Wan is a military brigadier general and a master-level spiritual specialist. Xiaoling Wan has been assigned to evaluate the dangerous cavern near Lingwu City and invites Zhang Dai to accompany her. That brings Dr. Jiang's granddaughter back toward the same province where Yin Yuan is finishing treatment. At the Jiang estate, the poison finally clears from Yin Yuan's body. His qi and blood surge without the toxin suppressing them, and his system confirms that he has reached peak Grandmaster. He now stands one major resource away from the True Dragon realm. The Rising Star selection offers Grade 9 True Dragon liquid. So Yin Yuan decides waiting for a high-quality breakthrough is worth more than rushing with inferior medicine. Dr. Jiang refuses to let him leave immediately. The old physician argues that an alien toxin never seen before could leave hidden effects even after the visible poison disappears. This time the caution is reasonable. He produces a powerful pill designed to protect the heart meridians, alter parts of the body's genetic response and create lasting resistance to the same toxin. The medicine also improves natural cellular recovery. Yin Yuan takes it into a training room and discovers the process is anything but gentle. The pill tears through his body like every cell is being broken down and rebuilt in repeated cycles. Decay and renewal follow each other so perfectly that the pain becomes a pattern. Yin Yuan's battlefield-trained mind catches the principle instead of only enduring it. He enters an enlightenment state and studies the cycle of destruction, followed by restoration. The system refined talent, years of combat experience, and Dr. Zhang's medicine combine into an insight no one intended to create. When the transformation ends, Yin Yuan has developed a Grandmaster technique centered on regeneration. The concept goes far beyond ordinary faster healing. In principle, the technique can restore catastrophic physical damage that even martial saints are not known to regenerate naturally. Yin Yuan considers a dramatic test, briefly thinks about cutting off a finger, and decides he still has enough common sense to avoid that experiment. Instead, he slices his palm. The medicine begins closing the wound, then the regeneration technique erases it completely in less than a second. Dr. Zhang intended to give him resistance and better recovery. He accidentally helped create an ability that could redefine survival in close combat. Yin Yuan keeps that result to himself when he leaves the training room. The old doctor is already impressed that he absorbed such a high-grade pill in roughly an hour. Yin Yuan has no desire to explain that the real outcome is much stranger than efficient absorption. His phone keeps receiving calls from a number connected to the family he left. He blocks it without listening. Then Dr. Zhang gives him news he cannot block as easily. Zhang Dai is returning to Zhangbei. Yin Yuan owes the physician too much to vanish immediately, so he agrees to remain a little longer and at least meet the granddaughter fairly. At the cavern, the military perimeter expands while casualties and uncertainty rise. Su Qinlong, the lieutenant colonel overseeing the operation, receives Xiaolingguan and Zhang Dai when their helicopter arrives from the capital. Su Qinlong also happens to be Su Yuhan's older brother, tying another branch of Zhangbei's social drama into the military crisis. He explains that scouting teams entered and failed to return, while spiritual specialists cannot see through the lower levels. Xiaolingguan flies directly over the pit and releases her perception at full strength. Even with a range that normally extends across enormous distances, her senses strike a complete blackout. She considers two possibilities. Either so many monsters are packed below that their combined energy disrupts perception, or something stronger than a Grandmaster is deliberately blocking the scan. The second possibility means true dragon danger inside civilian territory. Xiaolingguan wants to enter physically, but Su Qinlong refuses to let a rare spiritual specialist go without a Grandmaster escort. Losing either one would be a national-level mistake. The unit requests a Grandmaster from command and receives no immediate solution. If no one can assess the cavern, the fallback is a nuclear strike. That option could kill the visible monsters, but worsen the spatial crack underneath, turning Zhangbei into a permanent front rather than solving the problem. The military needs someone strong enough to enter, protect Xiaolingguan, and survive whatever is blocking her senses. That requirement is difficult because Grandmasters are not disposable specialists sitting in reserve at every base. They are strategic assets responsible for cities, divisions, and entire defense sectors. Command cannot casually order one into an unclassified pit when the strongest presence below may exceed Grandmaster realm. Xiaolingguan is almost as difficult to risk for a different reason. High-level spiritual specialists are rare enough that armies use them for reconnaissance across distances conventional sensors cannot cover. Losing a master-level spiritual user means losing a capability, not merely one more powerful fighter. Su Qinlong, therefore, has good military reasons for stopping her first attempt. The frustration comes from knowing the cautious choice may still lead to a worse outcome. Without a direct assessment, command has to plan around uncertainty. A nuclear strike would look decisive on a map because the visible mountain could be destroyed from outside. The spatial mechanics make that solution dangerous. Blasting the site may expand the crack that connects the cavern to alien territory, turning a temporary monster nest into a permanent invasion channel. That could force evacuation of nearby population centers and shrink the secure human territory around Zhangbei. So every hour spent waiting carries its own cost. Zhang Dai understands enough of the military discussion to know why her teacher is frustrated, even though she came home expecting a family visit. Her presence at the operation is not decorative. As a young spirit specialist, she is learning the same perception discipline that makes Xiaolingguan valuable. The Holy Martial Academy admitted her on talent rather than family money, which is a major source of Dr. Zhang's pride. The old physician has personal reasons to fear military careers around his granddaughter. Both of his sons chose combat paths and died fighting monsters despite his medical status and attempts to protect them. Zhang Dai is therefore the last close descendant into whom he pours the hopes he could not keep for his sons. His matchmaking enthusiasm looks comic from Yin Yuan's perspective, but it comes from genuine anxiety about the family's future. Dr. Zhang wants someone powerful enough to stand beside Zhang Dai in the world she intends to enter. General, he recognizes the same practical concern, which is why he was willing to mention Yin Yuan as a possible match. None of them predicts that the dangerous cavern will create the first meaningful connection before any formal introduction can. Xiaolingwan's recognition of Yin Yuan changes the mission instantly because she already trusts his combat judgment from the Eastern Front. She does not need a rank document to believe he can protect her underground. She remembers being inside a failing helicopter with a ravine below and seeing him physically reverse a disaster that should have killed everyone aboard. That memory is why her remaining procedural questions disappear once Yin Yuan says he can authorize his own participation. Su Qinlong sees the same confidence from the outside and makes a sensible choice. A brigadier general who specializes in battlefield perception is willing to enter beside this young officer without waiting for another escort. Whatever Yin Yuan's exact sealed rank may be, he is clearly not an ordinary volunteer. The helicopter crew reaches the same conclusion when he chooses to jump instead of waiting for a careful descent. His method looks reckless from above. Inside the cavern, it becomes efficient because he can control their fall and place Xiaolingwan directly where the scan must begin. The deeper they travel, the mission shifts from reconnaissance toward containment. Each stronger level proves the original double S rating was not merely slightly wrong. It was wrong by entire realms of danger. By level 20, master-class monsters appear in numbers that would overwhelm ordinary elite squads. By level 30, Grandmaster creatures are no longer rare bosses. They are part of the environment. That escalation is why Xiaolingwan's discovery of intelligent spiritual power below feels worse than another strong beast. It means the cavern may be functioning as an enemy position rather than a natural monster outbreak. That person is sitting at the Zhang estate. Xiaolingwan and Zhang Dai return there while waiting for another option. Dr. Zhang lights up when his granddaughter arrives. Both of his sons died fighting monsters after choosing martial careers, leaving Zhang Dai as the last young member of the family he still has at home. His affection is immediate and obvious. Watching the reunion gives Yin Yuan an uncomfortable comparison between a family that worries about its child and the household that treated him as expendable labor. During the visit, Xiaolingwan steps outside and sees Yin Yuan. She freezes, then addresses him as General Ye, with the disbelief of someone finding a famous person in a private courtyard. Yin Yuan needs a moment to remember her. She reminds him about a crashed helicopter on the Eastern Front roughly 6 months earlier. Yin Yuan had sensed trouble near an abyss and physically pulled the damaged aircraft out before it disappeared into the ravine. Xiaolingwan was on board. For him, the rescue was one chaotic battlefield incident among many. For her, it was unforgettable. Once the recognition is settled, she explains the cavern crisis and the lack of a Grandmaster escort. Yin Yuan immediately offers to go. She asks whether military approval will be a problem. He answers that his own command authority is enough for the mission. Xiaolingshen stops objecting and wants to leave immediately. Yin Yuan goes inside to tell Dr. Zhang and finally sees Zhang Dai clearly for the first time. The granddaughter is young, composed, and exactly as impressive as the old man advertised. Their eyes meet briefly before Yin Yuan looks away and tells the physician he has to step out on military business. Dr. Zhang tells him to be back for dinner with the enthusiasm of a man already treating the meeting as progress. Outside the estate, a white car pulls up before Yin Yuan and Xiaolingwan can leave. His mother steps out. She calls his name and reaches toward him, but Yin Yuan walks past as though they are strangers. When she asks whether he is still angry, he gives her the answer she is least prepared to hear. He addresses her as ma'am and says they have no relationship, so there is nothing to be angry about. The absence of rage hits harder than another argument would have. Anger could mean he still wanted something from her. Indifference means he has already stopped expecting anything. She remains beside the car while Yin Yuan leaves with Xiaolingwan. On the road, the brigadier general has enough judgment not to pry into what she witnessed. Yin Yuan instead asks about Zhang Dai. Once Xiaolingwan confirms that the girl is Dr. Zhang's granddaughter, Yin Yuan quietly decides the matchmaking problem may solve itself. He grew up in the old city, then spent 3 years covered in monster blood. Zhang Dai studies at the most elite academy in the nation and looks completely removed from that life. Yin Yuan assumes she will reject the idea once they speak honestly. Xiaolingwan finds it almost funny that the man who jumps into war zones without hesitation looks more uneasy discussing one young woman. They reach the military camp as Su Qinlong receives the bad news that command denied his request for a Grandmaster escort. Then he sees Xiaolingwan returning with Yin Yuan. She introduces him as a commanding officer from military headquarters who will enter the cavern with her. Su Qinlong notices the young man's age but also notices that a brigadier general addresses him with respect. That is enough to stop questions. A helicopter carries them over the mountain range. Even before reaching the opening, Yin Yuan senses multiple powerful presences below. This is clearly more dangerous than Double S. His system also gives him a very different reason to enter. Monsters mean kills, and stronger kills mean better rewards. When the pilot offers to descend closer, Yin Yuan decides the aircraft does not need to risk the lower airspace. He grabs Xiaolingguan and jumps directly into the cavern. The soldiers above can only watch the two officers vanish into darkness. The first levels contain weak creatures, and Yin Yuan burns through them without slowing enough to make the fights meaningful. Xiaolingguan tries scanning again and still finds her spiritual perception blocked. They keep descending. By the 20th level, dozens of master-class monsters are waiting in the dark. Yin Yuan summons his weapon and clears the group with a single fire-wrapped slash. The system begins dropping rewards, strengthening resources, cultivation time, and martial techniques. Most of them would be treasures to ordinary fighters. At peak Grandmaster, Yin Yuan is looking for something better. Xiaolingguan finally pushes her senses deeper and detects Grandmaster creatures around the 30th level. If threats that strong appear there, the 40th level could contain something far worse. They descend again. Grandmaster monsters attack on level 30, and Yin Yuan handles them while Xiaolingguan focuses on breaking through the interference. Then she senses something that changes the mission completely. The lowest layer contains organized spiritual energy. Normal abyss beasts are corrupted creatures driven largely by instinct. Focused spiritual power means an intelligent alien is present inside human territory. Xiaolingguan concludes the cavern exceeds Triple S and tells Yin Yuan they need to retreat. Before they can act, a massive shadow erupts upward from below. A whale-sized monster smashes through the cavern floor, while every creature on the surrounding levels suddenly goes berserk. The structure begins collapsing. Xiaolingguan's spiritual abilities are heavily restricted underground, making her more vulnerable the deeper the fight goes. Yin Yuan orders her out and uses wind power plus a palm strike to launch her toward the shrinking escape route. She reaches the upper cavern as the giant creature closes its mouth around level 30. Rocks, monster corpses, debris, and Yin Yuan disappear together into its stomach. The beast drags him toward the deepest layers, while the cavern above erupts into chaos. Xiaolingguan escapes by catching the helicopter's landing gear and orders the pilot back to camp immediately. Su Qinlong reads the situation from her face before she even finishes speaking. The cavern has exceeded Triple S, and a senior commanding officer is trapped somewhere below the collapse. The rescue request moves through Zhang Bei's military chain and eventually reaches General Ye Tai. He asks whether the trapped officer has been identified. The answer is no, only that the officer entered with Xiaolingguan and has not returned. Ye Tai gives the cold military response expected from a regional commander. The cavern is too dangerous to sacrifice several Grandmasters for one rescue attempt with almost no intelligence. Even if he personally entered, the probability of another loss would remain high. So no immediate Grandmaster rescue team is approved. Deep underground, Yin Yuan is not waiting for anyone. The whale-like creature has swallowed him, but his spiritual barrier keeps the digestive acid from touching him. The smell is still miserable. He draws an alloy combat blade and cuts his way through the beast from the inside, where its defenses are far weaker than the armored exterior. Once free, he realizes he has been carried down around the 32nd level. The spiritual pressure below is stronger than before, which means the true source of the cavern is close. His system rewards from ordinary Grandmaster monsters are useful but no longer exciting. What he wants is a true dragon kill and the kind of reward that level can produce. Instead of climbing immediately, Yin Yuan continues downward through the deeper layers. He avoids fights that offer little value and keeps searching for the presence Xiaolingguan sensed. At the camp, she is furious when she hears that military command will not send a rescue force. She also understands the ugly logic. Zhang Bei's strongest available fighters are Grandmasters, and sending them blind into a collapsing beyond Triple S cavern could turn one missing officer into several dead pillars. Her best chance is central command, but bringing a true dragon expert from farther away could take too long. Then Yin Yuan's mother arrives at the sealed military zone. She followed his movements, after seeing him leave the Zhang estate, and came to the mountains when the emergency alerts began. Su Qinlong initially assumes she is looking for Yi. She corrects him. The son she wants is Yin Yuan. That answer makes Su Qinlong connect the young commanding officer with the awkward older Ye son he remembers from years earlier. He had always heard his sister complain about that engagement, and never imagined the same person could outrank a capital brigadier general. Yin Yuan's mother demands to speak with Xiaolingguan. When she learns her eldest son is still underground, She asks for General Ye Tai to come personally. Xiao Lingshan sees hope in the request because a peak Grandmaster with decades of combat experience might actually help. Su Qinlong warns that the military already rejected the rescue. The mother answers that she is not asking as a commander or company head. She is asking a father to go after his own son. A secure call reaches Ye Tai. She tells him Yin Yuan is trapped in the cavern and asks him to come. The general refuses. When she presses the family connection, he says he has only one son, and that son's name is Yi. Then the call ends. The sentence leaves his wife motionless because it removes the last excuse she used to soften what happened at dinner. Ye Tai did not speak in temporary anger about using Yin Yuan as a tool. He meant the distinction between the favored son and the expendable one. She remembers sitting beside him while the merit transfer was demanded and realizes she never once defended the child they had lost and later recovered. Now that child may be dying in a monster pit, while his father refuses even to acknowledge the relationship. Yin Yuan would not have been surprised by the call. At the bottom of the cavern, he reaches level 40 and finds the ground covered with silver spiritual material. It is mithril, a rare cultivation resource valuable enough that a small quantity can cost enormous amounts. The mineral naturally disrupts spiritual perception from outside, explaining part of the blackout that confused the military. Then the air shifts and the intelligent presence finally appears. A dark figure wrapped in black material materializes with faint green eyes and a spiritual aura far beyond ordinary Grandmaster beasts. Yin Yuan recognizes the species as a corpse tribe alien. These creatures are spiritual parasites that inhabit dead bodies and abandon damaged hosts unless their true spiritual core is destroyed. Killing the flesh alone does not finish them. This one is true dragon level. The alien studies Yin Yuan's scent and suddenly recognizes him. It expected him to be dead from the poison delivered on the battlefield. That confession connects the cavern threat to Yin Yuan's injury. The lizard tribe poisoned him, and this corpse tribe creature was involved in the plan. Yin Yuan finally knows the attack was not random. He answers with a warning of his own and attacks before the alien can turn recognition into another trap. Fire, wind, lightning, and ice crash through the chamber in rapid succession. Most Grandmasters build their fighting style around one or two supreme techniques. Yin Yuan collected many through years of system rewards, which lets him chain powerful abilities without relying on a single trump card. The corpse alien is still stronger in realm. Its spiritual force distorts the surrounding space and even starts vaporizing the mithril under the pressure. Yin Yuan responds by opening his killing intent domain. 3 years of frontline slaughter condense into a field that locks the surrounding space and interferes with the alien's spiritual movement. The true dragon creature is shocked that a Grandmaster can produce a domain with that kind of pressure. Even so, its defenses are too strong for one clean finishing blow. The alien tells Yin Yuan to retreat because it has recalled every monster in the cavern. Hundreds of creatures are already moving toward level 40. Yin Yuan admits the advice is logically reasonable. Then he continues attacking. Technique after technique wears down the true dragon body while the summoned monsters race downward to help their master. On the surface, soldiers report an unexpected shift. The creatures that were rampaging outside stop advancing and retreat into the cavern. The eruption quiets almost as suddenly as it began. Su Qinlong cannot explain why until Xiao Lingwan notices the spiritual interference is weakening. Something at the bottom is no longer controlling the cavern as confidently as before. Inside level 40, the corpse alien's host body finally collapses under the accumulated damage. A pale spiritual core escapes from the ruined shell and tries to flee. Yin Yuan's alloy blade was made with anti-spirit materials specifically for enemies like this. One strike shatters the core and kills the parasite permanently. The system immediately delivers the reward Yin Yuan wanted. He receives grade 10 True Dragon Liquid, one level better than the already elite grade 9 reward offered by the Rising Star selection. A double reward also gives him the Immortal Cell Cultivation method. The new technique compresses Cayenne blood into individual cells until each becomes a tiny self-sustaining energy source. At its highest stage, the method is described as making those cells effectively immortal. Yin Yuan decides not to calculate what trillions of such cells could mean in battle. He has a more urgent problem. Every monster recalled by the corpse alien now stands between level 40 and the surface. The fastest way to improve his survival odds is to use the grade 10 True Dragon Liquid immediately. Yin Yuan applies the resource and begins tempering his body on the cavern floor. The liquid rebuilds bone structure, changes marrow, and drives his qi and blood violently upward. Grade 10 quality produces a deeper transformation than the resource he originally planned to earn in the tournament. His raw strength and qi nearly double. The breakthrough stops just short of the complete True Dragon realm, leaving him at half-step True Dragon with power far above ordinary Grandmasters. Then the dead alien leaves one final problem behind. Residual spiritual energy enters Yin Yuan's mind and triggers a nightmare invasion. Corpse tribe illusions search a target's memories, magnify fear, and trap weaker minds inside their worst experiences. Yin Yuan has seen soldiers destroyed by that technique before. His own memories give the parasite plenty of material. 3 years of corpses, failed defenses, hunger, injury, and constant death. The problem for the illusion is that those events already happened. Yin Yuan survived the original versions. A replay has less power over someone who already fought through the real nightmare. Above him, his mother is still searching. The corpse alien is dead, so the spiritual blockade becomes weaker even though the mithril continues interfering with outside perception. From a helicopter over the cavern, she pushes her senses deeper level by level. Eventually, she finds Yin Yuan sitting motionless at the bottom. She recognizes the signs of a spiritual illusion and makes a reckless decision. Instead of waiting, she projects part of her own consciousness into his mental world to pull him out. The first memory she enters is Yin Yuan's first day on the front lines. He is still a teenager and not even a properly qualified martial soldier. Monsters charge while he freezes, and a squad captain throws himself into the attack to keep the unprepared recruit alive. The captain realizes immediately that someone sent a boy to the front before he met the minimum combat standard. He cannot undo the order. He tells Yin Yuan that once someone stands in the demon suppression army, soldiers protect others rather than waiting to be protected. Yin Yuan grips his weapon and begins learning survival the hardest possible way. His mother watches the scene and finally sees what the family draft substitution actually meant physically. They did not send a trained warrior to earn safe merits for his brother. They sent an unready teenager into a battlefield that should have killed him on the first day. The nightmare shifts to a ruined city under gray rain. A defensive line has failed, the streets are full of bodies, and most of Yin Yuan's new recruit squad is dead. Military forces withdraw while monsters occupy the area. From a pile of corpses, Yin Yuan crawls out badly injured as the only survivor nearby. He is alone, starving, and trapped inside a city already given up as lost. To stay alive, he searches through debris and bodies for anything edible. A half-finished vial of nutrient liquid becomes a meal worth more than pride. His mother remembers finding him in the old city years earlier and promising herself that recovery would give him the life he lost. Instead, she later helped send him into another wasteland. For 3 years afterward, she never verified how he was living. The realization breaks through the distance she maintained from the consequences of the family's plan. She finally understands why he refused the merit transfer, why he walked out, and why he called her ma'am without anger. The nightmare tries to trap Yin Yuan inside the same memories. Instead, a blade cuts through the image of his starving younger self. The real Yin Yuan appears inside the mental world and destroys the illusion piece by piece. These memories are painful, but they are not chains anymore. He notices his mother's spiritual presence and understands that she has seen what happened. She calls his name. Yin Yuan walks past her without stopping. There is no emotional speech and no sudden reconciliation, because seeing the past does not erase the choices that created it. He cuts through the remaining illusion and returns to consciousness. Then he fights his way back through the cavern and reaches the surface alive. Xiaoling Wan checks him for injuries and finally relaxes when she confirms he is stable. His mother, by contrast, looks physically drained from what she witnessed inside his spiritual world. The soldiers send her back toward camp while Yin Yuan immediately briefs Su Qinlong on the cavern. Grandmaster-level creatures remain below, so the military cannot treat the area as cleared, simply because the controlling alien died. Su Qinlong salutes with unusual enthusiasm. Yin Yuan finds the man's expression strange but has more important things to handle. He does not yet realize Su Qinlong has connected the commanding officer in front of him to the engagement between Yin Yuan and his sister. In the lieutenant colonel's mind, that makes the military prodigy his future brother-in-law. The cavern operation also gives Yin Yuan several pieces of information he did not have before entering. First, the monster population is organized more deliberately than a normal abyss outbreak. The synchronized berserk reaction and later mass retreat proves something intelligent was controlling behavior across multiple levels. Second, the mithril deposits explain why outside spiritual scans failed even before the corpse alien actively interfered. That mineral is valuable precisely because it disrupts spiritual energy, making the cavern both a military threat and an enormous resource site. A single refined quantity can sell for more than most families see in years. Level 40 contains it in pools. Yin Yuan has no time to harvest it while the cavern is unstable, but the discovery guarantees the site will matter after the immediate crisis. Third, the corpse tribe recognizes him personally. That means the poison wound is connected to a larger enemy network rather than an isolated battlefield accident. The lizard tribe delivered the toxin, while the corpse tribe expected it to finish him within a month. Someone across the space cracks considered Yin Yuan important enough to target specifically. That knowledge changes how he reads the earlier injury. It was not bad luck from fighting above his level. It was an assassination attempt that almost succeeded. The corpse alien also demonstrates why realm alone does not determine every fight. At true dragon level, it possesses more raw spiritual pressure and tougher defenses than Yin Yuan. Yin Yuan compensates with a larger library of techniques, an unusually strong killing domain, and the habit of changing attack patterns faster than opponents expect. Fire forces movement. Ice constricts space. Lightning disrupts spiritual concentration. Wind changes angles and keeps the alien from stabilizing between attacks. None of those moves alone defeats a true dragon. The pressure comes from chaining them until a defense built to endure one ultimate technique has no clean recovery window. That combat style exists because the system rewarded Yin Yuan repeatedly over 3 years instead of forcing him to specialize in a single inheritance. Ordinary master level drops still appear during the descent. He receives strengthening resources, cultivation gains, and techniques that would make academy students fight over the ownership rights. His indifference to those rewards shows how far his baseline has moved. The first system message that truly changes his plans comes from killing the corpse alien. Grade 10 True Dragon Liquid is beyond what Yin Yuan expected to access even through the National Rising Star event. Using it in the cavern means he spends a strategic treasure immediately instead of saving it for perfect conditions. That choice is driven by the situation, not impatience. Hundreds of recalled monsters stand above him, and the exit becomes more dangerous every minute. Surviving now matters more than displaying the breakthrough later. The Immortal Cell method is even stranger because it introduces a progression path separate from normal realm advancement. Instead of only increasing external chi and blood totals, the technique restructures how individual cells store and produce energy. If trained deeply enough, the body itself becomes a distributed reserve rather than a single reservoir that can be exhausted. Combined with regeneration, that method could eventually make ordinary attrition tactics nearly useless against Yin Yuan. He does not know the complete limits yet, so he treats the description as potential rather than guaranteed invincibility. The nightmare invasion arrives before he can explore any of it. That attack targets a weakness physical regeneration cannot solve. A body that heals instantly is still vulnerable if the mind accepts an illusion and never wakes. The corpse tribe's spiritual residue, therefore, attacks the one place the new technique does not protect. Yin Yuan survives because the memories chosen by the nightmare are familiar pain, not he already made decisions inside those moments years ago. The illusion can reproduce hunger, rain, corpses, and pant, but it cannot erase the experience he gained after surviving them. His mother entering that mental battlefield is far more vulnerable than he is. She did not live those memories once already. Every scene is new evidence of consequences she avoided seeing for 3 years. Projecting consciousness that deeply also risks spiritual backlash if Yin Yuan's nightmare collapses violently around her. She still enters because guilt finally overrides caution. Yin Yuan notices the rescue attempt, but does not mistake it for repayment. One brave choice made after seeing the damage cannot rewrite the earlier choices that caused it. That is why the scene ends without reconciliation, even though both of them survive. The mother gains knowledge. Yin Yuan gains no reason to restore the relationship. Su Qinlong gets rare leave that evening and returns home eager to share what he learned at the cavern. He tells his father that Yin Yuan is a senior military commander whom a capital brigadier general addresses as Sir. He also explains that the young officer walked out of a Beyond Triple S cavern after disappearing into its deepest layers. Su Yuhan immediately rejects the story because it contradicts every assumption she made about her former fiancé. Their father, Su Juqing, is skeptical for the same reason. If Yin Yuan were truly that important, why would General Ye Tai have thrown him out of the family? Su Qinlong had been stationed at the cavern and never heard about the break. Once the family confirms it, he becomes even more certain that the person everyone underestimated is exactly who he saw. A brigadier general does not casually call a nobody sir during an active military operation. Su Juqing starts calculating rank. If Xiaoling Wan stands below Yin Yuan in the chain of command, the young man could already be at least a major general or something even higher. At 22, that would be almost unheard of. The father's skepticism turns into enthusiasm within minutes. A future martial saint and senior commander as a son-in-law could transform the Su family's position overnight. He proposes visiting Yin Yuan immediately and treating the old engagement as the family's greatest advantage. Su Qinlong agrees. Then Su Yuhan quietly tells them she already ended the engagement. The room goes silent. Her father had been celebrating the idea of marrying upward only seconds earlier. Now he learns his daughter voluntarily discarded the connection before understanding who Yin Yuan had become. Su Juqing becomes furious, partly from ambition and partly from fear. His son serves in the military, and one hostile word from a senior commander could damage that career. He orders Su Yuhan to apologize even if the engagement itself never returns. The family at least needs to make sure Yin Yuan does not consider them enemies. At the Ye mansion, a different kind of regret is developing. Yin Yuan's mother sits with the battlefield memories still vivid in her mind. She saw the untrained teenager, the dead squad, the ruined city, and the hunger her son survived alone. When Ye Tai comes home, she asks whether Yin Yuan was always intended to be a piece used for Yi's future. The general dismisses the question and repeats that both boys are his sons, even while defending the merit transfer plan that treated them completely differently. His wife looks at him and realizes how much of that contradiction she helped normalize. She also realizes she no longer recognizes the values behind their marriage as comfortably as before. Ye Tai assumes she is upset because he refused the rescue. He insists Yin Yuan created the estrangement by attacking his siblings and rejecting a simple request for 3 years of merits. Then he repeats his favorite prediction. Without the Ye family, Yin Yuan's martial path will end, and he will eventually crawl back. The son he is describing is already half-step True Dragon with grade 10 True Dragon resources, regeneration, and a new immortal cell method. Ye Tai is not merely underestimating the future. He has no idea what the present looks like. At the Jiang estate, Xiaoling Wan learns that Dr. Jiang has been trying to match Yin Yuan with Jiang Dai. She originally planned to protect her student from an unsuitable family arrangement. The moment she hears the proposed partner is the Eastern Warzone prodigy who saved her life and just conquered the cavern, her position reverses. Jiang Dai asks whether her teacher disapproves. Xiaoling Wan cannot imagine a more qualified match. Yin Yuan is less confident about the idea. He prepares a careful rejection based on the obvious differences between their lives. Jiang Dai is an elite academy student with a respected medical family. Yin Yuan grew up in the old city, spent 3 years at war, and expects to return to battle rather than live comfortably in Zhongbei. Dr. Jiang gives them space to talk in the estate garden. Yin Yuan tells Jiang Dai directly that she should refuse if the arrangement makes her uncomfortable. He explains that his military life is violent, unpredictable, and likely to keep him away for long periods. Jiang Dai listens without embarrassment. Then she says she would like to try. Yin Yuan is so prepared for rejection that the simple acceptance leaves him with no immediate response. He tries one more practical objection. He will return to military service after finishing his business in Zhangbei, which may keep them apart for a long time. Jiang Dai answers that she plans to join the military after graduation too. Their paths are not as separate as he assumed. Yin Yuan runs out of sensible reasons to reject someone talented, kind, and apparently comfortable with the reality of his life. He agrees to give the relationship a chance. There is no dramatic declaration. Two people simply decide to see where the connection goes. Su Yuhan witnesses part of that conversation from a distance. She came to apologize because her father ordered it, but seeing Jiang Dai beside Yin Yuan stops her before she approaches. The woman she once considered beneath her social concerns is not present. Instead, Yin Yuan looks relaxed beside a Holy Martial Academy prodigy from one of Zhangbei's most respected families. Su Yuhan tells herself pride keeps her from interrupting. What she actually feels is smaller and more painful. She realizes she discarded someone valuable before ever learning what was under the family label she despised. She leaves without apologizing. Her father is furious when she returns empty-handed and asks whether he will have to go beg Yin Yuan himself. Su Qinlong tries to calm him, but the practical damage is already obvious. Su Yusan's embarrassment is no longer based on believing she deserved better. It comes from realizing the man she rejected is standing far above the future she imagined for herself. Yin Yuan knows none of that. The contrast between the Su and Zhang households is difficult to miss even if Yin Yuan is not consciously comparing them. Su Yuhan's father starts valuing him only after a military rank appears in the conversation. Dr. Jiang chose to help before any public reveal, based on General He's trust and what he learned directly from the patient. That does not make the old physician selfless. He openly wants a long-term protector for his family and sees marriage as a practical solution. The difference is that he never pretends the bargain is something else. He states what he wants, accepts Yin Yuan's initial refusal, and treats the poison anyway. That straightforward behavior earns more trust from Yin Yuan than years of family language about duty and gratitude. Jiang Dai's response matters for the same reason. She does not treat the arrangement as a purchase made by her grandfather. She listens to Yin Yuan describe the worst parts of his lifestyle and decides for herself that she still wants to try. Her teacher's approval adds another layer, because Xiaoling Wan knows what Yin Yuan looks like under genuine pressure. She saw him at the Eastern Front, before Zhang Bei ever learned his name. She also watched him enter the cavern when local command could not find a Grandmaster escort. Her opinion is therefore based on conduct rather than family reputation. For Yin Yuan, that kind of evaluation is unfamiliar outside the military. At home, people decided his value first and interpreted every action to fit the decision. Among soldiers, surviving missions and protecting people created a reputation he could not fake even if he wanted to. Zhang Dai meets the result of those years rather than the quiet boy who once tolerated Su Yuhan's contempt. That explains why Yin Yuan is more awkward in the garden than in the cavern. Combat has rules he understands. A healthy relationship does not. The original body's memories taught him to expect affection to be conditional, withheld, or used as leverage. Zhang Dai's simple acceptance gives him nothing to fight against and nothing to bargain over. He cannot solve it with rank, force, or a system reward. He can only respond honestly. That is why the small agreement carries emotional weight, even though the conversation itself is calm. Su Yuhan sees only the outside of that moment and recognizes how completely her assumptions fail. For years, Yin Yuan tolerated her because the original body feared losing another connection. She interpreted that tolerance as proof that he needed her status. The moment he stopped needing approval, the old power balance disappeared without a fight. Her later regret is not enough to reverse the breakup because it arrives after the value reveal rather than before it. Her father's order to apologize makes the motive even less convincing. An apology demanded to protect a military career is different from one offered because she understands how badly she treated him. Su Yuhan senses that difference herself when she cannot step forward. She does not know what she could say that would not sound like she came back only because another family discovered his worth. So she leaves. The Zhang household, in contrast, asks Yin Yuan to remain for dinner rather than to surrender achievements, inheritance rights, or military identity. That ordinary invitation is almost embarrassingly small compared with the resources surrounding both families. It is also one of the first domestic gestures in Zhang Bei that asks nothing dangerous from him. The relationship never becomes his central goal. He is still a soldier preparing for the Rising Star tournament and the next stage of cultivation. But it gives the return trip to the capital a personal connection that did not exist when he first walked out of the Ye mansion alone. He is more interested in the Rising Star selection, his new cultivation, and the unfamiliar warmth of a relationship that began without contempt. Nearly a month has passed since his return to Zhang Bei, when the provincial martial exam finally arrives. For young fighters, the exam determines which major academies, alliances, schools, and military programs will consider them. Military training camps are especially valuable because graduates can earn rank, reputation, and resources before entering higher academies. Generally, he contacts Yin Yuan with a simple assignment. Since he is still in the province, he can help scout promising exam candidates for the Eastern War Zone's recruitment pipeline. Yin Yuan agrees and plans to review the local talent list through Governor Li's office. At the same time, military headquarters in the capital is preparing a much larger event. Senior officers gather before the National Marshal, the highest military authority in the country. The Marshal announces that the Rising Star tournament will begin in 2 weeks. The competition is held only once every decade and is restricted to generals under 40. That age restriction makes the tournament brutally selective before anyone throws a punch. Most martial artists never become generals at all, and many who do reach the rank only after decades of military service. The field, therefore, consists of people who are already exceptional within their own war zones. Winning is not a school trophy. The rankings influence future command appointments, access to top resources, and which young officers the national military begins grooming for the highest positions. That is why the Marshal remembers Yin Yuan personally from his rank ceremony. A 22-year-old general does not disappear into a room full of ordinary candidates. The unusual part is that headquarters still knows him almost entirely through Yi's military identity. Every salute, promotion award, and classified evaluation from the last 3 years uses a name that belongs legally to his younger brother. Yin Yuan's face and body are known to the officers who served beside him. The paperwork points somewhere else. That split is manageable while he remains inside the Eastern War Zone, where colleagues know the person behind the file. It becomes dangerous the moment family members try to replace the person while keeping the file. The Rising Star tournament will gather commanders from across the country who have seen reports, recordings, and classified evaluations. Sending the real Yi into that environment would expose the fraud almost immediately. Ye Tai does not understand how close he is to that collision, because he interprets rank as a title he can reassign through administration. For national headquarters, rank also represents command history. A general is expected to know past operations, subordinate officers, tactical decisions, and classified events that cannot be memorized overnight. Yi possesses none of that history. He knows only the public legend built from Yin Yuan's service. The direct recall order, therefore, creates a problem no forged name can solve cleanly. Ye Tai tries to buy time, because time has solved his family problems before. He assumes the exam will finish, Yi will secure academy admission, and then he can complete the identity transfer at his own pace. The capital is operating on a completely different schedule. The tournament starts in 2 weeks. Candidates must be assembled, and the marshal has already asked about this specific officer. Delaying the order is not merely rude. It obstructs the highest military preparation of the decade. General He recognizes that immediately when he hears what happened. He also knows the recall could become the cleanest way to separate Yin Yuan from the false identity arrangement. Once national headquarters interacts directly with the real soldier, regional paperwork becomes much harder to manipulate. That is why General He prefers notifying Yin Yuan instead of arguing with Ye Tai through bureaucratic channels. The father keeps trying to control the name. The military increasingly cares about the person. The martial exam adds another layer because civilian institutions rely on military records for bonus points and recruitment status. Yi's application benefits from achievements earned in battles he never fought. At first, schools see only an unusually decorated young candidate. Once rumors spread that two brothers are connected to the same service record, every bonus point becomes a liability. Academies are competitive, but none want an admission scandal tied to stolen military merit. The recruiter's hesitation is therefore rational rather than personal loyalty to Yin Yuan. They do not need to know his full rank to understand that the safe choice is verification. Ye Tai mistakes that caution for disrespect toward his family. His threats make the institutions even less eager to commit before the military resolves the discrepancy. Experiences the consequence as unfair sabotage because he has never treated the service record as borrowed. He grew up hearing that the merits were always his. From his perspective, Yin Yuan is the one trying to take back property the family already promised him. That belief explains why he can accuse his brother sincerely while standing on benefits produced by someone else's blood. It also makes him dangerously unprepared for any setting where the real history matters more than the family story. The military training camp is one of those settings. Yin Yuan's candidate briefing is intentionally harsher than a normal school recruitment speech because the program is designed to filter out people attracted only by rewards. The million in cash, master technique, and breakthrough medicine sound impressive, until recruits hear that daily survival also costs points. No teacher will step in because two talented students dislike each other. No protected heir can assume family influence will erase bad battlefield judgment. A soldier who panics, starts feuds, or depends on status can get other people killed. Yin Yuan has seen that cost directly. That experience is why he values the two candidates who remain after hearing the risks more than 8 candidates with better-looking resumes, but no commitment. It is also why Yi's visible talent does not impress him enough to overlook temperament. The younger brother has spent his life in a controlled environment where failure creates excuses rather than casualties. Yin Yuan refuses to make the training camp the place where Yi learns the difference at someone else's expense. Its rankings help identify the strongest young commanders and the people most likely to shape the military's future leadership. Then the marshal asks where Yi is. Everyone in that room is referring to Yin Yuan because his entire military career still sits under the younger brother's name. Several officers remember the extraordinary young general from his rank ceremony and are amused that the marshal still asks about him personally. They report that he returned to Zhangbei on leave. The marshal orders every candidate to report to the capital, including Yi. That command travels through official channels and lands on General Ye Tai's desk. The father is having one of his best mornings because Yi is taking the provincial marshal exam. He expects the boy to become champion, enter the Holy Martial Academy, and continue the path built from stolen war achievements. Then an urgent order arrives requiring Yi to report to military headquarters in the capital. Ye Tai initially assumes it is a routine military recall. Because he still treats the military identity as something that belongs to the real Yi, he interprets the order as a problem for his favorite son. Yi cannot report because he is taking the exam. The message came directly from national headquarters, not merely Eastern Command, but Ye Tai still believes he can manage the timing. He has no idea the marshal personally wants the young general behind the name. That makes the order impossible for the real Yi to fulfill. The boy has never lived the military career his paperwork describes. Yin Yuan is resting at the Jiang estate when Dr. Jiang announces another visit from General Ye Tai. The father arrives aggressive toward the old physician, then becomes unexpectedly calm the moment Yin Yuan appears. The shift is so obvious that Yin Yuan immediately knows he wants something. Ye Tai begins with an apology unlike anything his son has heard from him before. He admits he failed Yin Yuan in some ways and says the eldest son has a right to be upset. Yin Yuan is more suspicious than moved. The man who attacked him twice and called him trash did not develop humility overnight. Ye Tai keeps forcing himself to speak gently and explains that every decision was supposedly made for the future of the family and Jiang Bei, he says, has the talent to become a martial saint, so the eldest son should understand why everyone sacrificed for that possibility. Yin Yuan asks why understanding should require accepting that he was sent to war before he was even properly qualified. He reminds his father that no one checked on him while he nearly died repeatedly. Then the first demand after his return was to surrender everything he earned. Ye Tai answers that Yin Yuan never gave the family a chance to compensate him. Then he finally reveals the real purpose of the visit. The capital ordered Yi back to military headquarters, but Yi is busy with the martial exam. Ye Tai wants Yin Yuan to report under Yi's name again. He offers the Ye heir position, martial resources, and even leadership of his mother's corporation as payment. The proposal is almost perfectly circular. 3 years ago, Yin Yuan was sent to war because Yi could not go. Afterward, Yi was given the credit because the records used his name. Now the military wants the soldier behind those records, so Ye Tai wants Yin Yuan to become the substitute again. Yin Yuan points out the contradiction directly. If the merits and military identity truly belong to Yi, then Yi should skip the exam and obey the recall himself. Ye Tai has spent weeks insisting the younger son is the returning war hero. This is the first moment that lie produces an obligation instead of a reward. The father has no answer that does not expose the fraud. Yin Yuan refuses every promised benefit and tells him to leave. Ye Tai storms out cursing the son he just tried to bribe back into service. At his office, he does something even more dangerous than the identity scheme. He delays the direct national order and tells staff that Yi is busy with exams. A subordinate warns that headquarters may follow up. Ye Tai still assumes his regional authority gives him room to control the situation. At Eastern Command, General He hears what happened and is stunned that a one-star regional commander is suppressing a capital recall for a school exam. He immediately understands the motive. Ye Tai still wants to complete the identity transfer, so he cannot risk sending the inexperienced real Yi, where military officers will recognize the fraud. General He decides there is no reason to keep routing communication through Jiang Bei Command. If necessary, Eastern Command will contact Yin Yuan directly. Yin Yuan meanwhile starts the scouting assignment he actually agreed to perform. He visits Governor Li's office, where recruiters from martial academies, military camps, and major organizations are already studying Jiang Bei's exam candidates. Governor Li greets him with enough respect to make the entire room pay attention. Yin Yuan reviews the talent list, selects several names that look useful for Eastern War Zone development, and asks to meet them after the exam. He does not mention Yi because his younger brother does not cross his mind during the evaluation. After Yin Yuan leaves, the recruiters demand to know who received such treatment from the provincial governor. Li gives them only part of the truth. The young man is the Eastern War Zone prodigy who appeared 3 years earlier, destroyed enemies at a shocking pace, then vanished behind classified records. Many people assume that Prodigy died when public information disappeared. Learning he is alive, a Grandmaster, and already a military commander changes the mood instantly. Questions about his rank and background follow. Li then reveals the social detail that creates the real scandal. Yin Yuan is General Ye Tai's eldest son, and Ye Tai publicly cut him off only weeks earlier. The room can barely process why any father would discard a 22-year-old general. Someone mentions the second Yi son, currently taking the martial exam. At first, the recruiters assume the family somehow produced 2 extraordinary heirs. Li adds one more fact. The legendary military prodigy is registered under the name Yi, even though the person standing in the governor's office was Yin Yuan. That contradiction spreads through the recruiting circles immediately. The provincial martial exam itself is straightforward. Students complete a short academic portion, then face mechanical training targets that become harder with each level. Yi performs well enough to remain confident that every elite organization will want him. The part he cares about most is the military training camp list. When the school reads the preliminary selections, name after name appears. Yi is not among them. He stands up and demands an explanation because his exam performance and reputation should easily qualify him. The teacher can only say the list came through the governor's office and final criteria are controlled by the military pipeline. What Yi does not know is that Yin Yuan personally selected the candidates Eastern Command wanted to evaluate. The omission is not part of an elaborate revenge plot. Yin Yuan simply did not view his brother as a promising military recruit worth choosing. At the governor's training hall, Yin Yuan meets 10 young fighters who survived the first screening. He explains the rewards honestly. Graduating from the camp can bring money, a master-level technique, a breakthrough pill, and access to military training resources. Their excitement disappears when he explains the cost. Inside the program, food, shelter, and training consume points, and the environment is designed around real military survival rather than school discipline. Fights can become lethal. Once formally accepted, quitting can be treated as desertion. Yin Yuan offers every candidate a chance to walk away before the commitment becomes official. 8 of the 10 leave. A boy and a girl remain. Yin Yuan respects the decision because he expected perhaps one serious candidate from the entire group. He sends the pair home to wait for the next notice. Then Yi arrives furious. He accuses Yin Yuan of abusing military authority to exclude him from the training camp for personal revenge. Yi makes the complaint loudly enough that nearby students can hear, protecting his reputation before anyone can assume he was simply rejected. Yin Yuan tells him not to overestimate his importance. From a battlefield perspective, Yi's talent is ordinary compared with the people military camps actually need. Yi demands to know why candidates with lower visible talent were chosen instead. Yin Yuan gives him the answer he will remember most. He says he does not like him. Then he walks away. The line is deliberately blunt, but Yin Yuan also has a real professional reason for rejecting him. Military camps create soldiers, not protected heirs. Yi is spoiled, arrogant, and inexperienced under genuine life-or-death pressure, which makes him a risk to himself and everyone assigned beside him. Naturally, Yi reports the confrontation to Ye Tai. The father hears the exact phrase and adds it to the growing list of reasons he believes Yin Yuan is sabotaging the family. He promises that once the exam process ends, he will formally transfer the military registration back to Yi. In Ye Tai's plan, the real Yi receives the full file under his own name, while Yin Yuan is left without rank merits or recognized service. The problem is that his one-star clearance still cannot see what kind of record he is trying to rewrite. The son he wants used to race is the same young general the national marshal is already summoning. Exam results arrive soon afterward. Ye Tai refreshes the official page expecting to see his golden boy at number 1. Yi ranks 3rd in the province. For most families, 3rd would be a major success. For Ye Tai, it breaks another part of the future he designed around a supposedly unmatched heir. Yi blames the earlier injuries from Yin Yuan for affecting his performance. The wounds had largely healed, but the explanation gives the family another reason to blame the older brother. Ye Tai forces himself to accept that 3rd place should still be enough for the Holy Martial Academy. Then the admission lists appear. Yi's name is missing. This time the father does not accept the result quietly. He drives straight to the governor's office, where academy recruiters are already debating the exact problem they feared. Yi's application includes military service bonus points from 3 years in the Eastern War Zone. Those points are attached to the name Yi, but rumors now say the person who physically served those years was Yin Yuan. If the academies accept the bonus and the service is fraudulent, they become part of an identity scandal involving national military records. If they reject the score before proof exists, they risk provoking a regional general. So several recruiters choose the safest possible action. They wait. Ye Tai storms into the meeting surrounded by military pressure and demands to know why his son's qualifying score was ignored. A teacher finally explains that the service bonus cannot be verified, while 2 different young men are connected to the same military identity. Ye Tai insists there is no contradiction. He calls Yin Yuan a stray from the old city, says the boy was expelled from the family, and claims Yi is the one who served in the East. The recruiters ask only for the records to be verified. Ye Tai accepts that challenge confidently because every document he arranged still carries Yi's name. He does not understand that the story inside those documents is impossible for the real Yi to perform. The military Yi is a 22-year-old general famous for battlefield killing. The student Yi is a 20-year-old exam candidate with no authentic frontline history. Matching the name only makes the discrepancy more dangerous. Ye Tai leaves, convinced the file will clear his favorite son. The academies remain frozen because none want to be the institution that validates stolen war merit from a commander who may outrank every official involved. Yin Yuan is barely paying attention to the administrative chaos. His original goals in Jiangbei are complete. The poison is gone. His cultivation advanced. The scouting assignment is handled, and the Rising Star tournament is approaching. He tells Dr. Zhang that the military is calling him to the capital. The physician suggests perfect timing because Zhang Dai also needs to return to the Holy Martial Academy. They can travel together. Yin Yuan agrees. For one night, leaving Jiangbei seems simple. Then the cavern changes again. Military teams had been entering to clear remaining monsters level by level after Yin Yuan killed the true dragon corpse alien. The operation looked controlled because squads were matched to the estimated danger of each floor. One unit near the middle levels suddenly loses contact. Then another disappears. Radio operators call every deployed team and receive nothing back. A spiritual specialist scans the cavern and finds no life signs from the missing soldiers. Su Qinlong orders another assessment. the answer is worse than a hidden nest. The spatial crack at the bottom is still active, and new monsters are entering from the other side. The cavern was never sealed. It has become a gateway feeding fresh enemy forces into human territory. Su Qinlong immediately reports to Jiang Bei command. General Ye Tai is awakened in the middle of the night and rushes to headquarters. By morning, every news channel in Lingwu City is carrying emergency updates. Hundreds of Grandmaster-level signatures have been detected. The cavern is unstable, and civilians are advised to prepare for evacuation. Ye Tai has protected Jiang Bei for roughly 20 years. So many citizens remain confident simply because his name is attached to the defense. Inside the war room, the assessment is much less comforting. The spatial crack is pumping in reinforcements faster than local teams can clear them. Pulling troops from other sectors would weaken those regions. But leaving the cavern alone risks a full eruption beside a major city. Ye Tai orders partial mobilization and prepares a concentrated assault before the monsters can reach the surface in force. The timing fails. About an hour after Yin Yuan and Jiang Dai leave the Jiang estate on the road toward the capital, the cavern erupts. Monsters pour through the opening faster than the prepared lines can absorb them. The first defenses break before all reinforcements reach their assigned positions. Ye Tai leaves the command room and moves to the frontline camp personally. Governor Li arrives and demands an honest assessment because civilian evacuation cannot wait for pride. Ye Tai admits the situation is bad and tells him to prepare the city to move. Whatever his failures as a father, the general does not lie about the immediate danger, once civilian lives depend on the answer. Governor Li almost tells him there is one fighter nearby who already knows the cavern's interior and killed the intelligence behind the earlier eruption. That fighter is Yin Yuan. Li stops because he cannot imagine Ye Tai swallowing enough pride to ask the son he disowned for help. Yin Yuan sees the emergency updates while traveling toward the capital. As a soldier, he considers turning back because ordinary people in Lingwu City are now threatened. Then he remembers that Jiang Bei has a commanding general, a full military structure, and hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Managing this threat is Ye Tai's responsibility. Yin Yuan refuses to remain the invisible substitute who quietly fixes every disaster while his family keeps the title and credit. He continues toward the capital. Behind him, the battle deteriorates faster than anyone predicted. Multiple defense lines collapse within hours, civilians begin evacuating, and the cavern keeps releasing stronger waves. Governor Li returns to headquarters and carefully suggests outside assistance. Ye Tai resists because reinforcements from distant regions may arrive too late, and requesting them would destroy the reputation he built over 2 decades. He still believes his local force can recover the situation. Within another hour, nearly every defensive position except the final line is gone. The National Marshal receives the reports in the capital and becomes furious for reasons extending beyond the battlefield. The civilian side of the crisis makes those reports harder to dismiss as a normal military setback. Lingwu City has spent years treating the Ye Command as a guarantee that monster disasters happen somewhere else. Families built businesses, schools, and homes around the assumption that the local army would hold every breach before evacuation became necessary. Now emergency broadcasts are telling those same people to pack what they can carry. Roads fill with vehicles, public transport is redirected, and neighborhoods that looked normal the day before start emptying towards safer districts. Many residents still repeat Ye Tai's name as reassurance because 20 years of successful defense created deep public trust. That reputation is precisely why the collapse threatens more than one battle. If the last line fails, the province loses confidence in the command structure at the same time it loses physical territory. Governor Li understands the political cost, but he prioritizes evacuation once Ye Tai admits the army may not hold. The governor's role is not to preserve the general's image. It is to keep civilians alive if the military perimeter breaks. Ye Tai deserves some credit for giving Li the honest answer, instead of delaying evacuation to protect himself. His larger failure happened earlier, when he treated the cavern as manageable despite warning signs and divided his attention across family schemes. National headquarters sees the entire timeline rather than only the final hours. The delayed recall order for Yi is already sitting in the administrative record. So are the late cavern escalations and the requests that failed to trigger enough preparation before the eruption. From the marshal's perspective, Jiang Bei now has both a combat crisis and a command reliability crisis. Sending reinforcements addresses only the first. Replacing Ye Tai addresses the second. Choosing Yin Yuan is not sentimental punishment aimed at humiliating a father. The young general has already entered the cavern, identified its internal structure, killed a true dragon enemy at the bottom, and survived the route back out. No other available commander combines current knowledge of the site with his combat power and national authority. The decision is therefore strategically straightforward. Once the marshal knows Yin Yuan is still nearby, that fact makes the replacement even more devastating to Ye Tai later. He cannot honestly claim the capital selected his son only for family symbolism once the mission qualifications become clear. Yin Yuan also reads the order in military terms rather than as revenge. He was willing to leave while Jiang Bei still had a functioning command, because responsibility belonged to the local structure. Once national headquarters assigns that responsibility directly to him, continuing toward the capital would become abandoning a lawful mission. The personal boundary remains unchanged. He does not return to save Ye Tai's reputation, protect Yi's future, or prove anything to the family. He returns because millions of civilians are now part of his assigned battlefield. That distinction keeps the family conflict from swallowing the larger duty. It also explains why Yin Yuan does not celebrate when Ye Tai is removed. Every minute spent enjoying the reversal is a minute the spatial crack keeps producing enemies. The command chair matters only because someone has to use it effectively before the final defense line breaks. Ye Tai delayed the national recall order for Yi, failed to escalate the cavern intelligence quickly enough, and now an entire province is close to collapse. The marshal issues 2 direct commands. Every military unit near Jiang Bei must abandon lower priority assignments and reinforce the province immediately. Second, General Ye Tai is relieved of command. The marshal asks whether Yin Yuan is still nearby and orders him to take over Jiang Bei's defense. The son Ye Tai, discarded, is being appointed to the job the father believed Yi would inherit one day. The order reaches Yin Yuan's phone before he has fully left the province. He stops beside the road and reads it twice. Zhang Dai and Xiaolingguan see the emergency information as well, and the practical choice becomes obvious. The final defense line is failing. Millions of civilians are moving, and National Command has assigned responsibility directly to Yin Yuan. He turns back. Not for Ye Tai, for the people whose homes are about to become a monster front if the command failure continues. The order removing Ye Tai reaches Jiang Bei headquarters almost as quickly as it reaches Yin Yuan. Ye Tai stares at the message in disbelief because his identity is tied to command of the province more deeply than to almost anything else. He has led Jiang Bei's military for 20 years, commands hundreds of thousands of soldiers, and built his public reputation on keeping the region safe. Being replaced in the middle of a crisis feels impossible. His first question is who the capital could possibly trust more than him. The answer is not included in the first notice he sees. Before the replacement arrives, Ye Tai's loyal officers crowd around him and promise that no outsider can truly replace their commander. Several insist they will follow his orders regardless of what the capital says. Ye Tai outwardly warns them that military commands must be obeyed. Privately, their loyalty reassures him that any incoming commander will struggle to take practical control. He decides to solve the cavern crisis before the replacement can establish authority. If his counterattack succeeds, the capital may have to treat the removal as a temporary political gesture rather than a real transfer of power. Nearby units begin arriving under the marshal's emergency order. More than 1,000 experienced soldiers reinforce the remaining lines, including master-level fighters and lower-tier grandmasters. The new force gives Ye Tai enough manpower to attempt a serious counteroffensive. He gathers commanders around battle screens and lays out a disciplined plan. Fast units will draw the monster waves into predictable channels. Master-level squads with heavy weapons will strike concentrated targets from protected positions. Rotating defensive formations will keep exhausted troops from collapsing under continuous pressure. The tactics are not foolish. Ye Tai is an experienced military commander, and even officers who dislike the politics recognize that he understands battlefield organization. The counterattack works at first. The last line stabilizes, then soldiers recapture ground that seemed lost only hours earlier. A second defensive position comes back under human control. Then another line advances. Ye Tai watches the feeds and becomes convinced that the capital removed him too quickly. If he clears the eruption before the replacement arrives, he can present the crisis as proof that Jiang Bei still needs his command. Then his attention drifts back to Yin Yuan. He asks whether the eldest son joined any of the incoming military units. An officer reports that no one has seen him among the reinforcements. Ye Tai does not respond with concern. He sees another opportunity to harvest merits. Because Yin Yuan's battlefield record still exists under Yi's name, fresh kills could strengthen the same stolen file. Ye Tai orders staff to contact him and demand that he report to the front within 30 minutes. He even announces that Yin Yuan should lead the first charge so the Ye family can demonstrate that it does not hide behind privilege. The officers around him are impressed by what sounds like noble discipline. They do not know the father is once again trying to turn one son's danger into another son's record. Yin Yuan is already closer than they realize. Before entering headquarters, he returns to the cavern perimeter with Xiaolingguan. and personally checks the current state of the gateway. He wants fresh intelligence rather than accepting reports filtered through a command structure that already underestimated the cavern twice. The surface fight is only a symptom. The spatial crack at the bottom remains the actual strategic problem, and no amount of killing outside will end the invasion if that gateway stays open. After the survey, Yin Yuan heads to the main military base to assume command. A division commander blocks him at the entrance before he reaches the operations building. The officer is Yishan, a Ye family relative who has known Yin Yuan since the years after he returned from the old city. Instead of greeting the incoming commander, Yishan scolds him for arriving late while other soldiers are fighting. He treats the situation like another family gathering where Yin Yuan is expected to lower his head to older relatives. Yin Yuan looks at the man's insignia and tells him bluntly that his rank is not high enough to issue orders. Yishan hears only disrespect, threatens military discipline, and calls on family seniority as if the two forms of authority are interchangeable. Xiaolingwen steps beside Yin Yuan and asks whether Yishan understands who he is addressing. Only then does the division commander properly notice the capital brigadier general standing with the young man. Yishan assumes she might be the replacement sent by headquarters. That interpretation makes him cautious, but not respectful enough to stop lecturing Yin Yuan. He argues that a late soldier showing contempt toward a senior officer deserves punishment. Yin Yuan repeats that Yishan lacks the rank and tells him to move. The division commander steps aside rather than challenge a brigadier general in public. Yin Yuan passes the gate. Then another voice asks whether it has enough rank to command him. General Ye Tai approaches with a group of officers behind him. He immediately frames the confrontation as a discipline problem rather than a transfer of command. This is a war zone, he says, and Yin Yuan should stop embarrassing him. Yin Yuan asks whether Ye Tai is speaking as a father or a commander because he already gave up the first role publicly. Ye Tai chooses the military title. As Jiang Bei's one-star commanding general, he says his word is law on this battlefield. That declaration sounds completely reasonable to the officers, who still do not know the replacement's identity. Several family elders and loyal commanders join the conversation before Yin Yuan can even enter the building. They remind him that Ye Tai recovered him from the old city and claim the general was delighted to bring his lost son home. Others criticize Yin Yuan for cutting ties while his father is under enormous pressure protecting the province. The language is gentle, but the purpose is obvious. In front of unfamiliar reinforcement troops, they construct a public image of a patient heroic father dealing with an immature, ungrateful child. Ye Tai stands behind them and allows the performance to work. Yin Yuan has no interest in defending his childhood to strangers during an active invasion. He asks one question instead. Whose elders are these people supposed to be, now that he has no relationship with Ye Tai? Then he warns the group that anyone interfering with command business can be removed from the base. The reaction is immediate. Officers who know only Ye Tai's version see arrogance, not a lawful commander asserting authority. Whispers spread that 3 years in the military turned the eldest son into an undisciplined brat. Ye Tai steps forward with the expression of a father, pushed beyond patience, and raises a hand as if he might slap Yin Yuan. Yin Yuan shifts aside before contact. The general remembers too late that even Grandmaster strikes failed to dominate this son at the Jiang estate. He changes tactics. Ye Tai apologizes publicly for Yin Yuan's behavior and promises to handle the family matter after the crisis. Then he uses the full authority of his regional command and orders Yin Yuan to report to the vanguard. The vanguard is the most dangerous position on the field, and the place where a strong warrior will accumulate the most kills. To the watching soldiers, the order looks impartial. A commander is sending his own son into danger, rather than granting family privilege. To Yin Yuan, it is the same transaction he has seen for 3 years. His body fights, Yi's paperwork receives the result. Yin Yuan tells Ye Tai that the order is invalid. The one-star general does not have enough rank to command him. For several seconds, no one understands what that statement means. Ye Tai assumes his son is simply refusing military authority again. He orders guards to escort Yin Yuan to the vanguard and threatens a tribunal if he runs. One soldier actually starts forward. Xiaolingwan stops him with a warning that makes the entire group hesitate. Yin Yuan tells her he can handle the situation himself. Then he states the fact that the capital notice has not yet made clear to the local officers. Effective immediately, he is taking command of Jiang Bei. Ye Tai stares at him, as though the sentence belongs to another language. For a moment, he seems to think Yin Yuan is making some symbolic claim about inheriting Yi's future position. Then a communications soldier runs over with an urgent call from the capital. Ye Tai takes it in front of everyone. A senior voice confirms that the replacement commander is Yi, and adds that this officer is apparently Ye Tai's son. The call ends before the father can ask anything else. He lowers the phone slowly. His face loses color because the capital has just confirmed the impossible interpretation. The man standing in front of him is not pretending to hold authority. National headquarters genuinely appointed him to replace Ye Tai. The implication reaches the surrounding officers in waves. 5 minutes earlier, they were calling Yin Yuan a rebellious military brat. Now, the same young man is their commanding officer during an active provincial emergency. Yin Yuan does not pause to enjoy the reversal. The cavern is still open, and civilians are still evacuating. He identifies Yishan and several of the officers who interfered at the gate and suspends them immediately. They protest that the punishment is personal revenge. One demands that Ye Tai stop his son. Ye Tai says nothing, because the capital has already stripped him of the authority those men are asking him to use. Yin Yuan orders every division commander and every master-level officer to report to the command room within 30 minutes. He wants complete data on the cavern, current casualties, remaining combat units, and the state of the spatial crack. Then he enters the operations building. Behind him, reinforcement soldiers start reconstructing everything they just witnessed. Some wonder whether replacing a father with his son is actually punishment at all. Others recognize that a 22-year-old does not receive emergency provincial command unless his sealed record is extraordinary. Ye Tai retreats to a side office with the loyalists Yin Yuan suspended. He searches for an explanation that preserves the world he understands. His best theory is that the capital chose Yin Yuan only to save face. Someone must absorb responsibility for the cavern disaster, so replacing Ye Tai with another family member could be a temporary symbolic move. Under that theory, Ye Tai can continue directing events from behind the scenes, while Yin Yuan serves as the official name on the command order. Once the crisis ends, the father expects to resume control. He still cannot imagine that his eldest son genuinely outranks him. A subordinate then brings partial intelligence from the background investigation Ye Tai ordered earlier. The investigator confirms that Yin Yuan became a division commander roughly a year ago. His known merit already exceeds 500,000 points in the portion they can verify. Even that incomplete number is enough to shake the room. A division commander at 21 would already be a historic talent in most provinces. Ye Tai asks his people to keep digging through capital contacts and Marshal Saint families. He wants the full record his clearance cannot open. The request itself shows how badly Ye Tai's confidence has changed. A few weeks earlier, he could not be bothered to learn whether Yin Yuan held any meaningful rank. Now he is asking capital contacts and Marshal Saint families for information because his own clearance has become the obstacle. That shift is not yet remorse. It is fear of losing control over a person he assumed would always remain below him. The partial merit figure also creates a new contradiction inside the father's earlier plan. If Yin Yuan already held more than 500,000 verified merits a year earlier, then calling the current record a handful of achievements was never remotely accurate. The sealed portion can only be larger. Ye Tai knows military promotion standards well enough to understand that a division commander with that merit total is not a ceremonial officer. He has commanded real units and survived real operations. Still, the father clings to the puppet commander theory, because the alternative is emotionally worse. Accepting Yin Yuan as the legitimate replacement means admitting the national marshal trusts his discarded son with Zhang Bei more than it trusts him. It also means Yi's future inheritance plan has already been surpassed by the brother who supposedly existed only to pave the road. Ye Tai therefore tells himself the transfer is temporary and political. The capital needs a name to absorb blame. Using another Ye family member lets the military punish the command without humiliating the clan completely. Under this theory, Yin Yuan should naturally rely on his father's old network to operate the province. That is why Ye Tai allows suspended loyalists to gather in his side office instead of telling them to obey the new commander cleanly. Every man in that room becomes part of an unofficial second command center. The danger is larger than family pride, because wartime units cannot function with two competing chains of authority. Orders about retreat, ammunition, reinforcement, or target priority lose value if soldiers stop to ask which Ye they should obey. Yin Yuan recognizes that risk faster than the loyalists do. His suspensions at the gate are not only punishment for disrespect. They remove officers who already demonstrated that personal loyalty can override current orders. The same logic applies to the young military brats who storm the operations area. Their fathers taught them that family influence protects them from institutional consequences. In peacetime, that attitude might create favoritism or bullying. During an active monster invasion, it can interrupt command decisions while civilians are evacuating. Yin Yuan's question about wartime insubordination forces the guards to remember which rules govern the base right now. The answer terrifies the young men because military law is far harsher than household discipline. They entered expecting another argument at a family dinner. they suddenly realize they threatened the person legally responsible for the entire provincial defense. Yishan's reaction changes for the same reason. He is loyal to Ye Tai, but he also knows how military charges can destroy a career and a family name permanently. Slapping his son is partly discipline and partly panic. The phrase outsider from the old city makes the situation worse because it exposes the prejudice behind the confrontation. Several reinforcement soldiers hearing it have no history with the Ye household. To them, Yin Yuan is the commander confirmed by capital, while the relatives insulting him look like a local faction obstructing wartime authority. That outside perspective weakens Ye Tai's ability to frame everything as private family discipline. The former general's order to lock the youths up for now is deliberately softer than formal processing. It gives the families time to negotiate and preserves the habit that Ye Tai can still decide consequences inside Jiangbei. The guard's hesitation proves that habit survived the official transfer. Yin Yuan now has to solve two battles at once. One is physical. Stop the cat! Reach the spatial crack and prevent another endless stream of monsters. The other is structural. Make the military obey one chain of command before divided loyalty causes battlefield deaths. The first problem is familiar after 3 years at the front. The second is more personal because the resistance is built from the same family hierarchy he walked away from. Ye Tai once believed Yin Yuan existed to support Yi's future command. Now the father is watching that supposedly disposable son inherit emergency authority without asking permission from the family at all. The irony does not make the mission easier. If anything, it raises the cost of every delayed order. Yin Yuan cannot spend hours humiliating relatives while monsters continue pushing through the cavern. That is why he moves directly toward briefings, data, and operational control after the rank reveal. The family wants a reckoning. The province needs a commander. For the moment, he chooses the second job. In the main command room, Yin Yuan studies the battlefield feeds rather than the family reactions. The surface situation is improving because Ye Tai's tactical counterattack was effective. That does not change the strategic problem. Every monster killed above ground can be replaced as long as the bottom spatial crack remains active. Yin Yuan begins planning around the gateway instead of the visible wave. Before the meeting can start, a group of young men in military family uniforms storms toward him. They are sons of the officers Yin Yuan suspended, led by Yishan's son Yi Qinglin. These youths grew up around the Ye command network and assume family status makes them untouchable inside the base. They demand that Yin Yuan restore their fathers and accuse him of abusing a temporary appointment. One even threatens that Ye Tai will break Yin Yuan's legs once the older general hears how he treated the family elders. The threat would already be reckless in ordinary circumstances. During wartime, directing it at the acting commander of the entire province becomes a military offense. Yin Yuan barely looks up from the operational data. He asks a nearby guard for the wartime penalty for insubordination toward a commanding officer. The answer is several years in prison, with much harsher punishment possible in severe cases. Yin Yuan orders the group processed under military regulations. The young men stop shouting as soon as guards move toward them. They suddenly remember childhood connections, family gatherings, and every reason Yin Yuan should treat the matter as private. He remembers something different. During the years in that household, he was usually ignored, mocked, or treated like furniture. Family memory becomes remarkably warm only after consequences arrive. Before the guards can take them away, Ye Tai appears with Yishan and the suspended officers. Yi Qinglin immediately calls for his father to save him. The other young men insist they were only talking, carefully leaving out the threats they made seconds earlier. Yishan looks at his son, then at the soldiers surrounding the acting commander. For once, even he understands the danger. He slaps the young man across the face. When Yi Qinglin complains that Yin Yuan is only an outsider from the old city, Yishan kicks him hard enough to stop the sentence. Calling Yin Yuan an outsider in front of the former commander, who may already be reconsidering his own family decisions, is not merely rude. It is politically suicidal. Yishan turns to Ye Tai and asks forgiveness for raising a spoiled son. Ye Tai studies the scene in silence, before telling the guards to lock the young men up for now and deal with punishment later. The guards hesitate. Yin Yuan already issued a formal wartime order to process them. Ye Tai, stripped of command but still powerful after 20 years in Jiangbei, is giving a different instruction. The hesitation exposes the real problem inside headquarters. The command transfer exists on paper, but decades of personal loyalty are still pulling soldiers toward the former general. Ye Tai notices the uncertainty and asks whether his word is no longer good enough here. The guard automatically answers that it is, even though the legal chain of command now points to Yin Yuan. For the first time since the capital order arrived, the battle for Jiangbei is not only outside the walls. Yin Yuan holds lawful command, Ye Tai still holds old loyalty, and the province cannot survive long if soldiers keep serving two authorities.